Welcome to Truth Uncompromised. I am your host, Rhonda. Join us every Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Truth is peace. Truth is justice and freedom to love, live, and be. Music provided by SourceVibrations.com.
There's an old friend that I want to say, something that touched my heart, and it began this way.
All right, family. Welcome to the Truth Uncompromised show. I am your host, Rhonda, and tonight we have a great show planned for you. Tonight's topic is The Sun is Feminine. Looking forward to doing this show. Well, I guess I'll get into it when we get into the topic, but just really quick, I saw a video, what inspired the show, I saw a video with a young baby. She couldn't have been no more than 2. And she was out with her mom. And so she got upset because the sun was setting. And so she was telling her mom, I don't want the sun to go nowhere. And the mom said, well, the sun has to go now to the other people on the other side of the world so they can enjoy him also. So that baby said, she's a girl. And the mom said, no, she's a boy. And the baby said, no, she's a girl. And so she was still upset that the sun has set. So that I just kind of sat there and I played that little clip because it was only like a 15-second clip a couple of times that week, because I had over the years, I would say the past 10 years, have been thinking about the gender of the sun. I know what they tell us, but I just felt something was off. So when I saw that baby so adamant in her gender of what the sun is, because obviously she was communicating with the sun, I said, I got to do this show. So we're going to get into The Sun is Feminine tonight. So with that said, we're going to get started. I do want to send out an ashe to Brother Maurice White, the late great Brother Maurice White from Earth, Wind, and Fire. That was actually, that particular song is called Sun Goddess. And Ramsey Lewis is also on that song. But growing up as a young girl in Chicago, I loved Earth, Wind, and Fire. And that was also one of my favorite cuts by them. And I actually forgot the name of it when I was doing research for the show. I came up on that album cover, and I'm like, oh, man, that's right. I forgot about that cut. So very shout out to the late, great Maurice White of Earth, Wind, and Fire. He really put a lot of high vibrational music out that really, really dropped a lot of jewels. Okay, so with that said, we're going to bring the family in. I know I saw Brother Wendell. Says Sandra's on the line. We got Brother Sean. So let's get it cracking. Let me bring on Brother Wendell. Greetings, brother. How you doing?
Greetings. I'm all right.
That's good. What you eating on?
So I already got. I'm through with the red beans and potatoes. I'm done.
Oh, okay. I thought about you again because I made me a batch of beans again this week, and straight slammed again. So one of the sis had texted me last week, and I forgot about it. She was like, "When you soak your beans, don't forget to put some baking soda in there, and while you're soaking them, and then you rinse them out and cook it, and that'll cut down on the gas." So she was right. So I got my slam on. So I sure thought about you. Oh boy. Okay, let me bring in Brother Sean, and I'll bring in Sis. Greetings, brother. How are you?
Greetings, beloved. I'm well, and yourself?
I'm well. Can't complain.
Brother Wendell?
Greetings, my brother.
All right, let's bring on Sis Sandra. Here we go. Greetings, Sis.
Greetings. How are you doing, family?
We're doing. I'm doing well. We're doing well. Good to hear your voice, Sis.
I'm on a different phone, traveling, but I'll be home in about 30 seconds.
Okay, beloved. No problem.
So,
traveling. Okay. If it gets too noisy, I'll just put you on mute. But so far, you're good. Okay. So this Tuesday we did a on the Tarot Reading Show. We brought back Brother Morris Donaldson because he released another book, and this book is about the real Shakespeare, which is a melanated woman named Amelia, who's the cousin of King James. And so we did it on the 4th of July because we wanted to tie that in with also the true Black royals. So if you were not able to join us, I encourage you to go to the archives, go to Blog Talk. I haven't had a chance yet to put it on YouTube, but go to Blog Talk and check it out, y'all, because we hit hard. We went into the real deal behind slavery, who did what group was responsible. It was really, really deep. So we dug into like the Galactics on down to the true Black royals, how they lost their power, on down to slavery in America. We hit it all in that short amount of time. So I highly, highly encourage you, if you didn't get a chance to listen to that show, to go back, because Brother Morris dropped some jewels in there. And I know, Brother Sean, you and I have been talking offline for quite some time about the true story of the European, quote, quote, Black royals and their participation on colonizing the Americas. We hit on all of that. So, yeah. So you all will be quite surprised. Some of us know this information. To be quite frankly, in the melanated community, those that do know it, either they don't talk about it or they hide it. So I would encourage the family to give it a listen if you weren't able to join us. Okay. And then the other thing that we are going to do, Sis Joan, or actually Dr. Joan Carter, she is bringing Mama Ya back on Truth Uncompromised. So she's going to start that back up next month. She'll still have her Wednesday slot on August 16th. So she's actually going to start back up Mama Ya by doing a series, and she wants to do it with taking a book that was actually mentioned on Tuesday's show that we were doing with Morris. And the book is called Initiation, and it's by Elizabeth Haich, Haich. And this particular book is about how the feminine divine or the feminine principle lost power. So it's going from my understanding from a galactic perspective on down to the physical, how the transfer of power happened. So Sis Joan is going to take this book, Initiation by Elizabeth Haich, Haich, and she's going to do chapter by chapter and kind of do it in like an open forum class perspective. So she's going to start that August 16th on a Wednesday at 7 p.m. I will keep making announcements for it. And those of you that want to join her, you can pick up the book. Actually, it's a free PDF, even if you don't want to buy the book. Go to Truth Uncompromised page, and we have put the PDF link there, and I'm also going to put the PDF link on Truth Uncompromised site. So that's what I'm excited about as well. Okay, so we got all of that out the way, so let's get it cracking, family. Okay, so interestingly enough, real quick, one more thing, then I promise we're going to jump into the topic. Okay, so you know how around the 4th of July, they always play them BS movies about the supposed story of how America, a.k.a. the corporation, gained their independence. Okay, so I just avoid those at all costs because it ticks me off because I know they're not telling the truth. So anyhow, I ran across a movie, and I don't even know the name of it because I came in the middle of it on one of the channels that play the old movies. And it was about the quote Indians. And what made me stop, because they had captured Geronimo and a couple of his boys and were taking them to a reservation. And so one of his boys had wound up getting away. So just to sum this up real quick, I'm sitting there fascinated because, of course, they have Caucasian actors playing these roles, but they painted them in dark faces and put these damn straight wigs on them, okay? So I'm sitting there like, So anyhow, throughout this movie, they are telling on themselves literally. There was a point in the movie where the particular guy, he ran away, and so he was a fugitive, and so they set out to catch him. So he wound up running to this house in Oklahoma and sleeping in this barn. And so the owner came out, and it so happened to be a quote, another Indian. So he was like, well, what are you doing in this house? Did you steal this white man's house? So the Indian said, no, I didn't steal this house. This is my house, my land. We live side by side with the white man. And he said, so what tribe are you from? He said, well, I'm Cherokee. And he said, we started in North Carolina and fought, and then we wind up settling here in Oklahoma. And so the guy that was running, I think he said he was Choctaw, if I'm not mistaken. So long story short, the way that the guy that's Cherokee describing his journey from North Carolina all the way up to Oklahoma, anybody that has studied the true story of the Indians, which are really the melanated folks of the Americas, knows that that's Wichita. So I'm sitting here like, okay, so they kind of telling on themselves. So anyhow, to make a long story short, throughout this old school movie, they drop the tribe names. They tell what territory the tribes came from. And then they kept mixing in. So, for example, they were calling these particular Indian tribes, they were calling them Bucks, B-U-C-K. So I'm sitting here looking at this. I said, wait a minute, that's the name they call the slaves. So they straight sitting here telling on themselves, and they're telling how they're trying to catch this man to, quote, quote, take him to a reservation to work, because the Indians on the reservation had to grow, quote, quote, crops, or had to work on projects like building railroads, etc. So, you know, I found it very interesting that during the time that of the 4th of July, that America, or the corporation rather, because I can't even bring myself to call them America, because that they're not, they're corporation, always puts forth the bullshit stories on the regular stations. They mix in the old school movies on the stations that folks don't normally watch. So I would encourage the family, when you run across those old school movies that's dealing with like Westerns, anything involving Indians, or like Egyptian movies, to check them out, because they literally are putting the truth right in your face in plain sight. So I did want to share that with the family. All righty. So, I'm sorry, go ahead on.
You have to look at it like this also, as far as for the reference of buck with horses. I mean, it's that whole thing with breaking a horse.
True that.
You know, that's, to me, that using words like that, that's how they take the quote-unquote human element out of it. That puts them in the perspective that they're not human. He's a buck. He's an animal.
Right. Okay, sis, I don't know. I'm getting feedback from somebody. I'm not sure who it is.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Somebody's running some water. But
okay.
Is he finished? Brother Shannon, you finished?
Yes, I yield the floor.
If people want to look up some information, the Oklahoma Secretary of the Interior has a Title 25 up there. And on that Title 25, or Chapter 25, I think it's Title 25, they have a listing of all of the Indians and their Moorish titles. El, Day, Bay, like Ishmael, El, the Ishmael tribe is El, that title, and the Iroquois tribe is El. So they do have this available to people if they want to look it up, because they're I guess they're trying to tell us who we are, but yet not are in these movies, but they do have it out there if people want to research that. I think it's Title 25.
Okay, well that's good to know, because as you were bringing up the Iroquois, that was one of the tribes that was mentioned in this little old school flick too. So I was just fascinated, and interestingly enough, to show you how they putting the crap in our face, in the movie when they were after him, they had the soldiers. Of course, you had the Caucasian people that was in charge of capturing him, but they had also some of the soldiers were truly, quote, quote, melanated black men in the uniforms. And I'm like, damn. So what they're showing you right there is really the British colonies against the native melanated Americans. So those British colonies, the control was some of those same black royals. And we kind of went into that also on Tuesday. So, I would encourage the family to just kind of start peeping game on how they put it out there slickly and slightly.
Back off of that. That's basically the Trail of Tears, the Oklahoma Trail of Tears. That's what that story is. But we also have to keep in mind that the Cherokees and them, I'm part Cherokee, they made deals with the colonists, and then they got double-crossed. And on that Trail of Tears, they were permitted to take their slaves with them. Whether or not it was the melanated Native Americans or during the time when they was able to become Native Americans for $5, I'm not sure. But Native Americans were the last ones to want to give up their slaves. And whether that's the dirty Moors or whoever, but they were the last to want to give up slaves.
And it's interesting because even the little man in the movie that said he's Cherokee, and he said his people came from North Carolina all the way across to Oklahoma. He said we lived side by side with the white man working, and I'm like, so basically you cut a deal. So yeah, it was really, really eye-opening to see, and I don't even know when that movie was made, but it was definitely old school. I don't know if it was the 50s or the 60s. So really, really interesting stuff to see that right in your face like that. So, all righty. Okay, so we're going to get started with tonight's topic. The sun is feminine. So, like I always do, I like to start out with what the typical definitions or are out there. And so I went to I like to start with Wikipedia because that kind of gives me a pulse of what the general populace thinks on a certain topic before we start analyzing it and really breaking it down. So I just simply put in the term sun goddess. I get back solar deity. And so it immediately says a solar deity, also sun god or sun goddess, is a sky deity who represents the sun or an aspect of it. Usually by its perceived power and strength, solar deities and sun worship can be found throughout most of recorded history in various forms. The sun is sometimes referred to by its Latin name, Sol, or by its Greek name, Helios. The English word sun stems from Proto-Germanic suno. Okay, so basically, I'm not going to go through the whole definitions, but they kind of break down by the different periods what the sun meant. So, of course, they got into the Egyptian and associating the sun with Ra, and they also kind of went into the Mesopotamian era, also breaking down the sun's gender per se as male, and then they also went into the African culture, and same thing. They said that the sun is the gender is associated with male, and then of course they associated the woman with the moon. But in the African cultures, they do name some of the sun goddesses. So it says the earliest deities associated with the sun are all goddesses. So I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing this right. We have Wajet, Sekhmet, Hathor, Nut, Basbat, and Mehit. And so I found that interesting that I typed in sun goddess, and I had to dig all the way down for them to talk about the earlier deities, earlier than Ra and all of that. The goddesses were associated with the sun. Okay, so that's Wikipedia's typical definition. Okay, all right, here we go. Let me see where I'm going. Sorry, y'all, I have to open these articles, and sometimes it takes them a little bit to get to where I need to go. Okay, this one doesn't want to act right. I'm going to have to come back to that one. Okay, so the Huffington Post did an article on sun goddesses, And let me give it a chance. And this was back in 2011 by Donna Hennis. She looks like she's a melanated woman. And it says, A History of the Female Sun. In archaic times, people perceived the sun in its shining prime glory, the giver of heat and light and life, to be the force of the female, a passionate aspect of the great mother, the versatile Jill of all trades, who issues forth and supports whole life. She is the heaven illuminated goddess, and then she names a goddess in Japan, Omikami in Japan, and the queen of heaven and earth, Ariana, or I'm probably not pronouncing that right, in Mesopotamia. She was Ye, sun woman to the Arunta of Australia. Sun sister was known as Anatolia in Siberia and Native America. There go that Native America again. Tribal North Europe knew her too. The Germans called her Suna. Now remember, I just read in Wikipedia that they said that the Germans call her Suna, but they did not associate with the Germans knowing that the sun was known as a female deity. So I found that interesting. Okay, and so they also say that the Norwegians called her Suna as well. In Scandinavia, she was glory of elves or souls. The Eddas say that on doomsday she will bear a daughter who will be the new sun, the next creation, the luminous world to come. She was soul as well to the Celts, who also call her Sul or Sulet. Her celebrations took place on open plains, on hilltops, overlooking springs. A major ceremony site was Salisbury Hill, or Salisbury Hill, and the springs at Bath, once called Aqua Sulis, were the site of Roman altars sacred to Sul Minerva. I didn't know that. That's interesting. The great mother in ancient India was Aditi, the mother of the 12 spirits of the zodiac. The Adita who would reveal the light at doomsday. The Mahabharata describes the sun as a golden garment of light that graces the great goddess. The sun, the most glorious symbol in the physical world, is the vesture of her who is clothed with the sun. Tantra Buddhist monks greeted the sun goddess Marasi at dawn, chanting to her, the glorious one, the sun of happiness. I salute you, O goddess, Marasi. Bless me and fulfill my desires. Protect me, O goddess, from all the 8 fears. Marasi or Mari was a precursor. Oh, hell no, gal. Or Mari was a precursor of the Christian Mary. The New Testament book of Revelations refer to her as a woman clothed in the sun. Some early Christian mystics gazed upon the sun, the shining shawl that encircles Our Lady's shoulders, until they became blinded by the light. The theory being that once having contemplated such magnificent brilliance, there was nothing left worthy of being seen. The success of this practice seems to have been a sure path to sainthood. An odd parallel is Saint Lucy, Santa Lucia, Santa Luz, who plucked out her own eyes to discourage unwanted suitors and sexual advances. In the dark, with the one she truly loved, she was rewarded with the clear vision of light of her faith. The goddess was not always the sun herself, but often the force behind it. the grand controller of the cosmos, the sun, and the celestial cycles. According to Greek mythology, Leto laid an egg that produced two offspring, the sun and the moon, Apollo and Artemis. The Egyptian goddess Hathor hatched the golden egg of the sun at the dawn of creation. The sun god Osiris Ra died each night to return to the womb of the great mother from whose gate he was reborn each morning. The same is said of the Mari sun god, who must descend into the uterine cave of the waters of life in order to be regenerated daily. With the advent of the patriarch, the sun underwent a sex change. Profound, this gender shift was a portrayal of the left brain revolution, the ascendance of ration over passion. Female divinity was overthrown and overgrown. Her domain plundered, her authority usurped, her worship polluted. The sun, with the strength of its brilliance, its sheer presence and potency, came to stand for the masculine principle, the power of rational thinking. The moon, reflected more subtle and seemingly erratic, came to be associated with the feminine in most cultures. Although the traits of the sun are thought to be male, it retains its female designation in the languages of North America, Arabia, and Japan. And then it goes on to say in Mesopotamia mythology, the Hittite sun goddess Esten evolved into Istanu, a male sun god. And pre-Islamic Arabia, the sun goddess was known as Torch of the Gods, Atha or Alat. She was honored daily by pouring libations at rooftop altars. Her name was subsequently masculized to Allah. That's interesting. Her other name, Sham, along with her attributes, became associated with a male sun god, Shams-on. The Babylonian sun god was Shemesh, clearly related. The Hebrew word for sun, as well as appellations of the biblical character Samson, were also derived from her name. Okay, this summer, let us each reflect and radiate the warming, nurturing energy of the sun in all her shining glory. So again, this article was off of, believe it or not, Huffington Post. It's called Donna Hens, Henes, Sun Goddess. All right, so I'll pause in case somebody want to put something on it.
Marie.
I like to.
Sure, sis, go ahead.
On September 23rd of this year, they're expecting Revelation, the 12th chapter, to come and to pass. And it says that, a little bit of it I'll read. Now a great sign appeared in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun, with the moon under her feet, and on her head a garment of 12 stars. So they're looking for this great event. And that kind of backs to the divine feminine energy when you were saying that, doing the Huffington Post thing. Now this book says, Revelation says she's gonna have the moon under her feet. So the moon has been the masculine energy that has been dominant.
Ooh, very good, sis. Now you know that feminine energy that they're describing is Sekhmet.
Yeah.
The energy of Sekhmet. So very, very interesting. I didn't get that take on about having the moon at her feet, meaning the male energy. Very, very, that's an interesting take on that.
She's going to deliver her children from the dragon, which is, the people that's in control now, that's trying to destroy the people that's coming back up.
Wow. Okay. Wow. Thanks for that, sis. Brother Sean, did you have something you want to put on it?
Yeah. It sounded to me like within that timeline, from the male deities to the female deities, or to the divine feminine deities, it's when we went from matriarchal to patriarchal.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, thus far we've just been picking and choosing what we think has been put in reverse when they reversed everything.
Yep.
We got
everything.
Everything, especially everything that they've put a male attribute to.
Mm-hmm.
It's not to say that the masculine energy isn't important,
exactly,
but it's out of balance.
Mm-hmm.
It got to be reined back in. I mean, balance must be restored.
That's right.
And we know who really brings the law and order. It's the divine feminine.
Mm-hmm.
So all these brothers, they want to stick your chest out. Yeah, that's it. All you were supposed to be was muscle.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Also, when we look at the male presidents under Allah, they said the male president is Allah. They make a specific point to put the women down. They always make her walk behind them, and they always want more than one. See, I believe that that's out of line with the principles of the universe, that one man has the ability to get 72 virgins and just have his way and all that kind of stuff. And so, but in that concept of Allah, they feel that the woman is subjugated to them.
Mm-hmm.
And that is absolutely toast, according to September 23rd of this year, when the divine feminine principle is rising.
And
but Allah is a feminine man. Allah
yeah,
is a
it really
man.
is. It is a feminine name, but and check this out, Brother Sean. What symbol is associated with Muslims? I'm a pause. Isn't it the and the crescent moon, right?
And the crescent moon and the star, yeah.
Exactly.
Which are both the moon
so,
and
but,
feminine principle. Feminine
well, it's interesting.
It's really on an eclipse if you look at it.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
Right.
It is an eclipse.
It's the sun and the moon.
Mm-hmm. That big eclipse is about to take place in October, I think it is this year?
Yeah.
August.
Oh, it's August?
21st. Yeah.
Then the thing of Revelation 12 is supposed to be September 23rd. So is there right in line?
Okay. August the 21st is supposed to mark the end of the 400-year period.
Yay!
And September the 23rd, September 23rd was the date back in, I think it was 363, 364 BC, or AD, whatever it was, is when the Council of Laodicea changed the Sabbath from Saturday to Sunday.
Yeah.
Interesting. So basically, everything is coming full circle.
Yep, going back to Bishop.
The cycle is over.
Very, very, very interesting.
Yeah, I have a question though. NASA, I was thinking about this feminine energy coming in on September 23rd, but they said that was in 2012 that feminine energy was to come back. And what I found out,
that NASA?
They had it. Yeah, they had the stars aligned in that position for 2020, I think it was. But now I find out that they've been blocking stuff. And now it's supposed to, and the next year it was going to be 2045, I believe it was. It was going to come in line like that. But it turns out it's going to be this year. Because obviously they've been kind of fudging stuff and people are not being able to see the next cycle. You know, because they have that cycle chart they have when the sun and the moon is going to be in this house and all that kind of stuff. And so they had put it out there for 2012. And then the next time was going to be in 2045, I believe. I've been trying to find my notes on that. But this time, I understand everybody got their eyes on the solar changes that's happening. I have to say this is 5777.
Yeah, I know you really tracking the Hebrew calendar behind that. But you know, let's talk about never a straight answer. NASA's stinking ass.
Hey, let me tell you what. You will get more reliable information from these folks out here on YouTube that have been studying this shit for years. They used to work for them organizations.
Exactly.
That's right.
Exactly. Because I don't trust anything they say. Okay. If they're put up there, that organization is strictly, I think, is number one, a money laundering operation, because they ain't doing all the expiration that they MF and claim. And then, second of all, it is to distract the people, confuse the people about what age we are in. Because consciously, if folks start to wake up and see what age we're in, then their mind would start gravitating towards that, and it would make it move that much faster. Okay, because remember, we talked about several times on this show, as above, so below. So when the energy in the cosmos are shifting, that impacts us as well as we can impact that energy. So sure, they're going to lie about certain things that's supposed to be taking place because they know the associated energy with it, and they know what age that means. They know it probably down to the damn second on what particular age we're moving into. And so we're going to also get into tonight, because Brother Sean had helped me a lot this week on the show, sending me a lot of videos. And we're going to talk about some of the technology that they're using in the sky, particularly with the sun. And, you know, I already knew what time it was before I even listened to the video, because those of us that are sky watchers, those of us that watch the position of the stars, those of us, you know, Wendell up on the moon, he got me watching the damn moon. And also those of us that are sun gazers, we can tell you things have shifted, but if you are a sky watcher, you can almost time to the clock of when they're going to put them damn chemtrails up. There is a purpose behind that. It's twofold. So we're going to get into that as well tonight. Okay.
What you also need to keep in mind when it comes to one of those quote unquote government organizations is they are trying to change the climate, and we ain't talking about weather. We're talking about the consciousness, the climate. That's the real climate that they're trying to change.
Absolutely, absolutely. Because the sun, when Mama Sun does her thing and shoots that energy, you know, because she's a portal as well, as all women are. When she receives the proper energy of what age we are in, through her rays, she's shooting it down to the planet and to the people. Okay, and she has gotten a lot hotter. Number one, so that's why I truly believe that they're blocking the chemtrails. I can just pretty much tell you if it's gonna be a hot day and sunny, they gonna spray that sky. You best believe that sky gonna be sprayed up. Okay, and not to mention they're blocking us seeing other planets that have emerged, and those other planets also represent new energies, new chakras. So that's what this is all about. But we'll get a little bit more deeper into it. Let me bring on 404. I think that's Brother Morse. He said he was going to try to join us tonight. Greetings, brother. Greetings, Brother Morse.
Greetings, I'm here.
Okay. You want me to put you back on mute? Okay. I'm here. You want me to put you on mute, or are you joining us?
I'll join you in maybe 10, 15 minutes.
Okay. Okay. Yep, that's good. That's good. Hit me up, text, or I'll check in on you in a couple minutes. Sounds good. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, family. So now, speaking of, when we were talking about, when I asked the question about what symbol does the Muslims have, and we said the star and the crescent, and I said the moon. Ideally enough, as I was doing research on this topic, some say that it was the sun and the moon represents duality between the feminine and the masculine, but instead of the sun being masculine and the moon being feminine, others are saying it is flipped, that the sun is feminine and the moon is masculine. So I ran across this article from Lion Path, and it's the Shamanic Lion Path for the 21st Century. And the title of the article is Why the Sun is Feminine and the Moon is Masculine. And then it says, in many religions, there are male sun gods, but they actually appeared quite late on the scene. When male priesthood became dominant over the older priestesshoods of the sun goddess, they tried to downgrade the power of the feminine by assigning it to the moon of lesser light, claiming the power and the brightness of the sun for themselves. That is why later Sanskrit-related languages, i.e. Latin, Greek, French, Italian, and Portuguese, assigned a masculine gender to the sun and a feminine to the moon, whereas in older languages of the same Indo-European family, example, Sanskrit, German, and Old Godelic, I may not be pronouncing that right, but the moon is masculine and the sun feminine. Similarly, in the very ancient pre-Babylonian Sumerian tongue, the word moon is explicitly masculine, as it is in Arabic, in which the word for sun is feminine. So that's another reason I was pointing out when we were talking about Islam, that crescent, because here they are saying that in Arabic, anyhow, that the moon is associated with masculine. Okay, so moon, M-O-O-N.
I know, that's what I'm saying, but think about the name, Amun.
Amun. Yep. That makes sense. Interesting.
Well,
writing.
This is just something to put out there to get your mind tingling. If you look at the eclipse, And you take a look at that. You take a look at that crescent moon or sun or whichever one it is. It's really the sun. But if you take a look at that, what you have is an eclipse happening, and the moon is going into the sun. But when it comes out on the other side, the sun is actually giving birth to the moon. You dig?
That's deep. I never thought about it like that. And you know, now that you bring up that eclipse in the sun and the moon, I also was thinking about it, Brother Wendell, you and I have been talking about this for quite some time, that we've been noticing that the sun and the moon been out chilling together. Am I right or am I wrong? Like on every other day basis, you get up in the morning, the moon there, and you will watch the moon. It'll, you know, tick around, change its little position, but it don't go away. And even in broad daylight, even through the afternoon, the moon still be out chilling with the sun. So I thought about it when I was doing the research for this show. I said, you know what? Maybe that is the planets, because the planets are entities within themselves, so meaning they have life. Okay, maybe that is the universe's way of saying this will be a balance. Having that sun and that moon out like on a regular basis. I mean, literally every other day, the sun and the moon are out together simultaneously.
When they out together, they out together until that moon runs its cycle again. Because sometimes it'll be real high where you can barely see it, but it's there.
Wow. Okay. And see, sometimes it's so doggone chemtrail, you may not be able to see it.
Right. Sometimes it'll be behind on chemtrail, but when it's in its full cycle, it's out there every day. You just have to know where to look.
Wow. Okay, so I'm going to just skim through this quickly. It's just a couple points I wanted to get to, and then I want to get to a couple of videos with other folks giving their insight on the sun's gender as being feminine. Okay, so... go ahead, brother.
I want to make one more point about that eclipse. If you look at that eclipse, it's equivalent to the yin and the yang.
Now you done just started something now. I will never look at that eclipse the same. That makes perfect sense.
Yeah, it is.
That makes perfect sense. And actually, now that you say that, showing us the concept of a black sun, and then the moon passes back out because the sun is giving birth to it. And we're also going to talk about the black sun tonight as well, and what does that really mean and how does that come into play. But very, very, that's interesting, Brother Wendell. I like that. So the eclipse is also symbolic of, it shows the symbolism of the yin and the yang. So once again, that balance.
Yeah, and you have to remember something also. In the book it says, and the evening and the morning was a new day. It's a new day. That's correct, because when it's night on one side of the planet, it's day on the other side. So the evening is the morning. It's always
now say
a
that
new day.
again. Say that again.
you know during creation when they said in the evening and the morning was a new day. If you look at it, when it's night on one side of the planet, it's day on the other side. And when it's turning night on one side, it's turning day on the other side. So therefore, that's true. The evening and the morning is a new day. It's always a new day.
Makes sense.
Now let me ask you this. Do you remember in that movie, The Gods of Egypt, when they went to the Sphinx and they had to give this creature a riddle?
And I didn't watch the movie. It was so hot and horrible. I know y'all said, watch it. It got a lot of symbolism in it, so I didn't see it.
This creature gave them a riddle answer. And the riddle was, what always is, never was, but always will be.
Okay.
And the answer was tomorrow.
Interesting. So, in other words, a reference to the sun.
Yeah. The sun and the moon. Because just like I explained, it's always day on one side, always night on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
So tomorrow is always, never will be, but shall be.
Wow. Okay, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. Okay, so I'm sorry. Go ahead on, brother.
I just have a problem with the whole eclipse thing, especially considering coming from NASA, this, that, or the other. I don't understand how it is that the supposed distance between them and the alleged size differential makes the moon be able to totally block the sun out. The moon is self-illuminated, but all of a sudden at that particular time, the sun makes the moon dark, even though it's still illuminated when it's chilling with the sun during the daytime, all day, every day. I mean,
now that's interesting.
The only reason that could be so is because one is farther away from the other, and when it crosses that path, it'll look like it's blocked out, but it's actually not. It's just for a minute, then it goes on away. But during the daytime, they're in opposite positions. That's why you can see them both.
Or, like they're saying lately, the moon is an artificial substance that somebody has made and controlled.
Yeah, they could both be, because there's a couple of videos out there where people say they've been having dreams that the sun blew up.
Well, we're gonna get into that a little bit, because Brother Sean dug up something on some technology that they have patented in regards to the sun.
Yeah. They got a fake sun up there. They got the patent and everything for that.
Yep. So that's what we were going to get into tonight, the artificial sun. Oh, okay. All righty. So I'm going to finish this up, and then we're going to jump into the videos. But basically, they were we talked about that in Arabic, the word sun is associated with feminine, and then how thus underneath the surface of the later male-dominated cults, there is a worldwide wealth of evidence of much older sun goddesses as well as of a moon god. The Tuvan shamans agree, as witness the following two excerpts from the rich manuscript collection of Mangish Kenan Lotsan, the shaman scholar of Tuva, who single-handedly revived shamanism thereafter it had almost been persecuted to death in the Stalin era. The excerpts were related respectively by Kurtik Mangush Sinden in 1990 and recorded by Kenan Lapsan. And so they go into the My Mother, the Sun, and this is a story from ancient times, and it goes that the sun is my mother. One says, if there is no sun, then there will be nothing on earth. And if there is no mother, there will be no children. As the son and mother have the same duties, they begin by calling the sun my mother. father moon. There is reason why Tuvans of ancient times used to call the moon father. The sun is called mother because as soon as dawn breaks, the sun rises in the east. And likewise, a Tuvan mother is always the mistress of her yurt, where she takes care of the children. The moon is called father because a father is always away and does not stay long in the yurt. Likewise, the moon does not appear in the sky every day, too. It either appears or disappears. Now, this next statement is interesting because years ago, it popped in my mind, but because we've been indoctrinated that the sun represents male, I'm like, well, maybe I'm just going out there too far left. The sun resembles the ovum. The moon resembles the sperm. Modern observations support assigning the sun to the feminine and the moon to the masculine. Under the microscope, the non-mobile ovum, propelled through the fallopian tube, but not by its own motion, looks like a sun, with its many rays of living protoplasm emanating from its spherical surface. The modem sperm reflects the swift motion of the moon as it propels itself in successive crescent-shaped waves. Also under the microscope, the ovum appears more red and the sperm more white, confirming the old traditions of Tantric Hinduism, as there are two colors of the solar Kali and the lunar Shiva. They are also the colors of the pair of Yogit channels, Pingala and Ida, not to mention the pair of red and white tinctures and central doctrine of the transformation of the soul in alchemy. Affirming the assigning of the moon to the male, it is impregnation cycle in the human female, which is controlled by the moon, the directing of impregnation being a male function. That not obvious but straightforward relation of the male lunar power with the feminine menstrual cycle often led to the understandable error of taking the moon to be the female. So in other words, they took too many sentences to say that that's why maybe folks got confused about the moon being feminine, because women's menstrual cycles are tied to that 28-day cycle of the moon. Okay. So that error is further pointed up by the fact that in cultures like that of Burats of Western Mongolia, the Greenlanders, Mahari, and Nigerians, it is believed that the moon could impregnate women. Now that's interesting. The women of the Greenlanders had the customs that they would not sleep outside under the moonlight unless they had rubble spittles on their bellies beforehand to prevent the moon's impregnation. The Mahari held that the moon was the true and permanent husband of all women, more important than the mortal spouse. The moon is initiating or fertilizing power of impregnation. It thus directs the tides of the woman's menstrual or monthly. The Latin mens means month. Now that's interesting. Okay, let me read that over. The moon is initiating or fertilizing power of impregnation. It thus directs the tides of a woman's menstrual cycle or monthly. And then they have in parentheses, the Latin mens means month. I did not know that. The cycle begins, the lunar force determines the peaks of fertility, the crest of most likely impregnating, and the trough of its least likelihood. Thus, the lunar power of impregnation orbits around the solar egg. These ancient truths reappear in the age of chivalry when the entire adventurous journeying of a knight revolved around his fealty to his lady, whatever the hell that means. So I don't know why they put that last part in there. Okay, so I'm not going to go into the rest. It goes into the different sun goddesses, ancient sun goddesses, and we kind of talked about that as well. And so it says, reconnecting the inner sun and the moon. It is by following the Sharmatic path that we can bring the sun and moon within us back into partnership and harmony. Then the light of the sun, or higher self, can pour down into us and illuminate all our actions, even whilst we remain in our molecular bodies. There is still more to be said here, since it is the function of the lunar strand of the self to seek out and rejoin the solar strand, even if the other strand be in a higher dimension, not subject to mortality. It is hence necessary for the male or lunar strand to be able to move interdimensionally and so be able to join in vibrant unity of the now reconstituted higher self. Some years ago, a poem came to me that I did not fully understand, but which is germane now. I call it the Song of One-to-One. It is a wedding song of the two interwoven strands of the self. Okay, so that article, again, was from a site called lionpath.net, and it is Why the Sun is Feminine and the Moon is Masculine. Okay, so I'll pause in case somebody want to put something on it. I'll give my little 2 cents, and then we'll keep it moving.
Yeah. Going back to the eclipse thing for a minute, and not to be jumping
Go ahead
ahead,
on, brother. Get it on off.
not to be jumping ahead of the topic.
That's okay. Go ahead.
But I've heard it said that it's actually the black sun because of the eclipse.
That's interesting that you say that, because I was thinking the same thing, but go ahead.
That's why they keep saying it's the moon, because they don't want us to know about the black sun. People think that white light is the only light. There's black light, too.
That's
that
very
black light
interesting.
is melanin.
Mm-hmm. So, in other words, if I may just repeat what you're saying, instead of when we talk about the eclipse, now that puts a different light on it, y'all. When we talk about the typical eclipse, that Never a Straight Answer says that's when the sun and the moon pass each other. You're saying that it really could be the two suns, meaning the regular sun that we see with the naked eye, and then the black sun, which is really said to be the powerful force behind our sun, per se. And we're going to get into the black sun a little bit tonight. So,
what else would be powerful enough to totally block out its light? A black hole is the only thing that eats up light.
Yeah, yep. Because I was thinking that too, that it could be the black sun, aka black hole. Interesting.
Well, you know what? We about to see if that's true here in a minute. Because all you got to do is during the day of that eclipse, locate that moon and see if we got three entities right there.
Oh, yeah. Well, I guess that depends on the nature of the chemtrail.
Yeah, because you know they're going to chemtrail the hell out of it, too, if that moon is going to be out.
You had to get up that morning and locate the moon. Locate the moon and keep your eye on it. When the sun come up, then when that eclipse happens, if you can locate both of them, you got three entities right there. It's fixing to be revealed if there is a black sun.
That's gonna be interesting. Wow. Okay. Well, speaking of if it's a black sun, now I couldn't play this on the air because Brother Sean, you know that one video you sent me, and I had seen that. Not only that one, hadn't seen that one you sent me, but other people catching or capturing the black sun, and literally in Antarctica, they catch the black sun all the time behind the sun, and so it's either the black sun or it's another planet. And I've seen videos where they had a regular sun in Antarctica setting and rising. Then you have the black dot behind it, the sun, and then you see literally other planets moving with it. And I'm like, they just blocking some shit out. It's just unreal. So that's interesting. Okay, I think Brother Mo is ready. Let me try to bring him in. I think he put his hand back up. I'm not sure. I'm going to check on you, Brother Mo. If not, I'll put you back on mute.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. I thought you had put your hand back up. How you doing?
I'm kicking booty and taking everybody's name, girlfriend.
I hear that.
I've been ready to hit on Amazon for that movie money.
Mhm.
So that's going to be quite interesting. You want me to talk now? I've been listening to what you people have been talking about.
Yeah, come on, put something on it. That's why I opened your line. I saw where you put your hand up. Absolutely.
Greetings, Brother Morris.
Greetings to you, brother. Greetings to the family.
Greetings.
I want to try to help you out because what it is that each one, right? So I need to try to help you a bit and put you on the right track, so you don't spin your wheels. And often what we tend to do is we read about what certain societies have said in relationship to the subject matter. However, we need to get scientific. And a lot of the information which has been disseminated that we have access to, some of it now, because most of it is hidden in the Vatican Church in the basement. The brothers from Kenneth did it all with regards to the what they call the Gnostic information, the Gnostic gospel, the Gnostic knowledge itself, which always lets you see things in a much broader panoramic perspective with regards to cosmic and galactic science. Now, take into consideration that we are scientists. We were created as God scientists by Prime Creator. Subsequently, you have to act as a scientist. Now, I'm writing a script with regards to Romeo and Juliet from Amelia Sano Lanier, taking place, as we had discussed, sister, on two moons of Saturn. So we can take it to another direction, another perspective, and help to expand the consciousness of the entire human species here on planet Earth. Because we've been locked down in a container for so long. Now, in doing the research with regards to Saturn, I had my mind blown because I discovered that Saturn has 63 moons.
63. And how many does never a straight answer say?
No, 63 that they have been able to name.
Oh,
It's
wow.
about 8 others that they haven't been able to name yet. And when you're talking about Jupiter, you're talking about another 83 moons.
Mm.
We're not isolated.
Right.
We are in that Pleiadian structure that you have in the book with regards to the 8 solar systems. You know, so we have Alpha, of course, Meru, Maya, Electra, Vegeta, Cole, Atlas, and our solar system, Tara. So we are affected by all of those other solar systems, some which have 4, 3, 2, and some 5 suns. We also have to bring in the fact that, in addition to that, in our solar system, we don't just have one sun; we have 4 suns.
Now that's interesting that you say 4.
We have Sirius A, Sirius B, and Sirius C. Those suns are a part of our solar system. When you're getting scientific like that, then you have to expand your awareness because you are being affected by the energy. Energy is the number one principle with regards to cosmic and galactic science. So you can't leave out those other 3 suns, Sirius A, B, and C, because our sun, which is Kenichiao, which is extremely intelligent. See, these suns, they're called brilliant for a purpose. They are brilliant. They are magnificent with regards to knowledge. And they will impart knowledge to you every time you sit out and meditate in the sun.
Yes.
See? So this is what we tend to miss. The fact that we do not really relate to the various bodies within our system itself. But we can correct that now that we have been informed once again that it's not monotheistic. And what we tend to do is we become very monotheistic in a polytheistic creation. So we all act backwards the way this belief system is asked backwards. It's giving you the male as the dominant figure when in reality it's the female. It's giving you the one concept of a linear structure where we lost 2 moons, but the moon is artificial, as the sister said. But someone had asked a question with regards to a female's menstrual cycle in one lecture. They were talking about how it affects the menstrual cycle and what happens if we lost the moon. And one of the Arcturians said, well, we just put a tractor beam onto one of the moons from the 83 moons on Jupiter, and we just drag it here. No big deal.
Yeah, interesting.
We get into the framework of what I call an ant traveling around the heel of a person's shoe, and with that circumference of this person's shoe, they're going to define the entire person itself. It's physical and it's spiritual, and all it has done is crawl around the heel of the shoe. And that's what we do when we make these statements, because we don't think on a cosmic and galactic scale. They all work together. There's only one time, as the Pleiadians teaches us, and I keep saying, but the one time is fragmented into different segments. And everything's happening at the same time. So we are extremely affected by Sirius A, B, and C. We are affected by the other solar systems and the structure, because we make that structure up. It's a pyramidal structure with Alcyon at the apex of it, okay? And then Merope coming down the ladder on the right-hand side, Maya on the left-hand side, Electra on the right-hand side, Vegeta on the left-hand side, Koli on the right-hand side, Atlas on the left-hand side, and then our solar system. And they all work together as a unit. If you're going to stop, you're going to leave the fairy tale alone and leave the old folklore that people have disseminated when they thought that there was just one sun that traveled around the planet and there was only one planet. You can't keep regurgitating that old obsolete information. You're going to have to do some study, some serious studies, find out about the intelligence of the suns that they think they regurgitate information to you. The Christ beings live inside and on the top of suns. They're solarical beings, so they can do these things. That's what a ninth dimensional being can do. So of course there's something going to have tremendous intelligence. Look at all the Christ beings. It may have 1 million Christ beings living on the surface of it, and then as well as in the interior of the sun. We just have hundreds of motherships for the past few years that have entered into our solar system. And they came into our solar system from Sirius B, but they came directly through the sun. They used the sun as a doorway to enter into our solar system. And then they park themselves into our stratosphere and cloak themselves so that when the reptilians try to come back up in here, the way they cannot get in here, they're ready to tear their butts in. As while the reptilians are being destroyed in the underground bases by the Azerite guards who have 25 billion allied nations working with them, our United States military-industrial complex split itself. People start jumping onto the Galactic Federation's bandwagon because they could get more firepower from the Azerite guards and the Galactic Federation, and they are taking out the reptilians all over this planet because they have a network which travels over the entire planet. It's been there for millions of years. This is why the brothers and sisters in Europe, which is getting its name from the black goddess, the Phoenician goddess Europa, the royal family members maintain the secret about the underground network as a spacecraft civilization. This is why it was so easy for King Tut's sister to travel from Kemet all the way up to Ireland and name Scotland after herself. Princess Scotia gave it the name Scotland. It's all connected. It's connected to Atlantis. All of from Cuba up through Britannia, up all the way up to Normandy is Atlantis. It's Atlantis on the third dimensional level of existence. So it's all related to us. We keep being shown it in white face, where this devil does, but in the original concept and original existence itself, it's a black landmass. The entire planet is a black landmass. We created this three-dimensional world with regards to seeding this planet from the fifth dimension. As I keep saying, it was Pangea. We are the ones who split Pangea up and turned it into the various continents that exist. And so Africa didn't create us. We created Africa. And then we seeded all of the continents with black people, which were the melanated, the strongest melanated people on the fifth dimension that had been created by the Galactic Federation. It produced 5 of the races: the black race, the brown race, the red race, the yellow race, and the white race there. But certain races were seeded at a certain period of time who can handle the frequencies here, who can handle fighting the reptilians here, And, of course, that was the strongest one, which was us. We're the only ones that have the 12 strand of DNA from that particular creation.
Mm-hmm.
The black suns you were talking about. Black suns are like the background. You're not going to find a black sun crawling around up in your solar system. It's impossible because some of those black suns are 100 times the size of our sun. It will black out everything. They're the backdrop. It's like in terms of a production. You have your stage, your players on the stage, and then you have your backdrop. The Nazis even know about that because they call themselves the SS, the spots of Sona. Spots is black, the black suns. So they're far more powerful than any of the yellow suns, but they are a backdrop. So some don't, so leave the fairy tale alone. We tend to fall so much in fairy tale because we're trying to awaken. We've been asleep for so long. But in the process of awakening, we start babbling. That's why it's called Babylon. And we're just babbling on with things that are not coherent because they're not scientific.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to talk too much, so let me shut up for a minute.
Okay. Well, it's interesting that you bring up about the Black Sun and the Nazis and SS and associating with the Black Sun, because as I was researching for the particular show, it definitely shows that, because there is a symbol, an ancient symbol for the Black Sun, and you can go Google it yourself and you'll see the symbol come up, and you'll see the sun with all of these squiggly lines, and you can clearly see where the Nazis picked up the SS off of this ancient symbol for the Black Sun. So, that's interesting. And also when you talked about us having more than one sun, and you said that we have 4. Now, I didn't expect for you to associate the Sirius constellation, Sirius A, B, and C, with the other 3 suns. I was thinking more in the aspect of, our regular sun, and then 2 other suns that are new per se, that are currently in our solar system.
So that things interweave. They're not new. Things have always existed. It's how we are. The time frame that we're operating in may pass to one of the suns within the Pleiadian structure, which we will find visible in our solar system. The energy, here again, it's energy. The key word is energy. The energy through the entire universe affects us, so that our sun is the twin to Sirius B. We need to know these things so that we are not fragmenting ourselves. It has to affect us. We travel around the central sun. The central sun is the Sirius system. It takes us 26,000 years to travel around because we are at the bottom of that pyramid. We're the base of it, but that is the entire pyramidal structure is what we need to be seeing. That's why it's there. It's an entire structure. You don't just leave part of your family out because they're the base of what holds up the other aspects of your family, and we are the base. Why it takes us 26,000 years. Alcyon is always in the center of the photon band, and that's something people are not talking about. We're talking about a photon band, a band of consciousness, a band of light, which is 2,000 years wide. We do 13,000 years on one side of it and 13,000 years on the other side of it. But Alcyon is always inside of that photon band. And then the solar system of Merope, it doesn't take that much time for Merope to travel around the photon band and the sun. The same thing with Maya, the solar system of Maya. You got 30 planets. And you got 5 suns up in there. So don't disconnect yourself, because when you disconnect yourself from the overall structure, you become microscopic, when in actuality you are a magnanimous giant. And all you have to do is you come together collectively with your mind, and you can defeat this beast easily. You can use your mind, and you can transform his military industrial machinery into dust.
Mm-hmm. So I guess
where
I'm
of it. Go ahead.
Agreed. So it's interesting. Now it's making sense, a lot more sense, what you're saying, because I'm very well aware of the central sun and the 26,000 year cycle. We've been discussing that for a couple years on the show, but we've also talked about the different planets that we're going to start seeing in the sky, as well as seeing multiple suns, and especially during sunrise and sunset. I've personally seen it a couple times, but you just put it in perspective for me that the reason we're seeing these new planets and the multiple suns is because as we're swinging around in that cycle, we are coming into play with the other planets and sun. They're coming into our vision, which, of course, as you said, that also brings in new energy, which impacts our consciousness. So now I have a different perspective on seeing the new planets and seeing the multiple suns show up. It's not that they're new per se, and I was thinking that the suns were new, but it's like you said, they've always been there, but we're just swinging around on the cycle, and they're coming into view. So that makes perfect sense, what you're saying. That kind of completes that picture.
You're going to see more and more. You're going to be exposed to more and more of that reality because of how we are traveling as a result of moving into a fifth dimensional existence. And the third already split in terms of the probabilities for the future, and those are beings who have decided that they want to operate on the lowest frequency. They can't go to the fifth dimension. We're going to be experiencing so many more different types of worlds than they could ever imagine. They go into the hellish realms of the fourth dimensional existence, which is why the fourth dimension was created like that by the Galactic Federation. It's where people are praying to go to when they pray to go to heaven. So the universe provides for you that which you desire.
Right, that which you ask for.
Yeah, that what you ask for. So you need to know what you're asking for.
Exactly.
And people are praying to go to heaven in so many different cultures because of the Anunnaki tricking everybody on the planet, knowing that it can use the planet as a food source, and have people praying and to die to go to where they're located. You spend so much time and so much effort and work in order to incarnate on this planet in the physical so that you can get some physical sex. That's the only reason people incarnate on the third dimension is so that you can have the experience of paradise. And the experience of paradise is your physical, sexual involvement. And then they convince you that you need to die. You need to die and go to paradise. No, paradise is right here between the male and the female, not the male and the male, not the female and the female. Like the Pleiadians say, when you do that, you're having the kind of sex that the demons like to have. You have to have the positive and the negative, so that you can experience paradise. You can experience the heavenly paradise. It's all about female sexual energy, the utilization of female sexual energy from the female's point of view, and the utilization of female sexual energy from the male's point of view. And it's together, that yin and yang together,
right,
which enables you to both travel in your dual spacecraft. You have the tetrahedron around your body.
right.
So now you're getting two tetrahedrons coming together so that you can travel into the cosmic universe to the high heavenly dimensions. Remember, we're created in the what they call the voids. The lowest of those voids is Ein Sof Earth. So the higher heavenly spiritual planets and whatnot, with regards to those voids and those higher spiritual universes, the highest being the Ein, the next being the Ein Sof, and then you have the Ein Sof Earth, where the three-dimensional world manifests in terms of bringing density into the creation for the very first time. This is all still cosmic galactic science, but you need to know that science so you can think properly.
Right.
You don't think properly, you're just babbling.
Agreed. So my question to you, and we're gonna family, we're still gonna jump back. We're still on topic, just a little bit diverted. So bear with me here a little bit. So my question to you, brother, as you were talking about the multiple suns and how we're, swinging around, and we are coming into these new energies based on the cycle that we're going through on that 26,000-year cycle. I saw where certain people were saying that where we're located on the band in our galaxy, we used to be located on, was it the arm of Sagittarius? And now they're saying that we're located somewhere else. And it's like totally shifted. Okay, it's like on the opposite ends. But half of the population remembers where we were told we were on the tip of the arm of the Sagittarius belt. But now if you look it up, they say we're somewhere else. And it's where we're located, it's like the total opposite. So, and some associated that with the quote, quote, Mandela effect. So meaning a part of the populace remember things one way, another remember it another way. So my question to you is, have we jumped in the solar system from a location standpoint when we were swinging around in that 26,000-year cycle?
Darn, you see it as a dance. You're not like white folks who just stand in one place and move your shoulders.
Mm-hmm.
When you dance, you dance. You use the stage. It's why it's good to know astrology now, because we're being affected now. The strongest effect we have now is Pluto in Sagittarius. Pluto in Capricorn.
Mm-hmm.
Pluto and Capricorn, we'll have Pluto and Capricorn for the next 100 or so more years. We're in motion. Nothing is static. You're not going to be where you were 500,000 years ago at this particular same time.
Mm-hmm. So, and I guess I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm just saying, but also think in terms of what motion we were in. We were in Jehovah's 5,200-year projection as what they call the nano cycle.
Mm-hmm.
Moving at a snail's pace. And right now, remember what I said, where we have switched up altogether so that we're moving extremely fast. We're not in the nano anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It's a different time perspective of where we were couple thousand years ago.
Okay.
Moving in Jehovah's slow ass Babylonian death fear.
Right.
That will never come again. We would have been here long ago with the Mayan projection of paradise on heaven on earth for 104,000 years rather. Okay.
Mhm.
That's Camelot. So we have that 104,000 year projection to fulfill now. You'll be in paradise, operating on so many different dimensions where you can slide back and forth, and the types of discussions about which we're having now will be meaningless. They already are meaningless because it's us still trying to define the overall human species by crawling around on the heel of the shoe of that human species. So you waste a lot of time with regards to that. You can use your mind and teleport outwardly so that you can see on a much broader panoramic perspective of things. It's how you see things that you can come up with a concept of it that will employ the energies which will enable you to function in certain manner. Never forget that you're a multidimensional God. You're gods and goddesses. You don't have to be a subject to what you don't desire to be a subject to. You make it into what you need to be.
Right. So isn't in essence when we talk about the galaxy and the position of the planets in the solar system, because what's above is also within us, right? And we're saying that is energy sources. So in essence, what we really should be focusing on is the new energies that are coming into play. That's what the 26,000 year cycle is about. As you know, the cosmos are showing us those are the new energies. We've always had access to them, as you say, but now it's even more prevalent, and it speeds things up for sure.
Yeah, because we're not in prison with Jehovah's 5,200 year projection. His projection is over; it will never come again. We are free once again. So we're not in that prison. We are in the matrix prison of the Anunnaki who left the Jews here. The Jews are still the Anunnaki. And it's their illusions that we have been living in, and they have produced their illusions by taking our science and renaming it and putting a blonde-haired face on it.
Mm-hmm.
That's what on my page on Facebook, I left some things showing what is going on with regards to the images. I was looking for the image of the Caucasian in the caves in Central Asia, and they will show you the images, but they have the images as black people. I mean, the skin is dark and the hair is dark, and it looks like a black person turned into a monkey. No, the Rhesus and the Gibbons monkeys are chalk white albinos. See, the only thing that they're using as an asset is blonde hair. And blonde hair is inferior recessive genes, but they don't want to show you blonde-haired cavemen. See? They will show you all the time. You go look for Africa. You can always find that image with the plates in the brother's lips. Okay. That image came up as I'm looking for Caucasians. You know, I'm looking for Caucasian gays, and all of a sudden I'm getting an African with a big old plate in his lips. That's those things. When the ETs were here, making the people whose mind had been inculcated with nonsense from the fact that the Anunnaki used the computers in the rings of Saturn to erase the memory. And then all the ETs coming up in here, I'm your God, I'm your God. And people want to look like they're God, so they're trying to, what they were doing was they were changing their physical structure, their facial structure, to try to look like those beings who were saying that they were their gods because they couldn't remember anything when their memories erased. And the Caucasian still plays with that because it's still that Hebrew scribe that writes all this documents here. I don't care if it's Google or if it's the movies or the TV programs, the commercials. It's still the same old Hebrew scribe.
Right.
Doing these
right.
things, okay?
Right. And I think, we most of, the audience, we realize that religion is pretty much a big part of the matrix of keeping people asleep, used as a source of energy for the fallen ones, demigods, albinos, etc. But I do still want to put to the forefront that where we are, whether you look at it from a galactic perspective, whether or not you look at it from a scientific perspective of the 26,000-year cycle, it is still dealing with each individual person raising their vibration up to a certain level, and that's going to take going within, doing your studying, connecting with things in order to tap into that energy. So if we don't do the self, it's not going to matter who's flying up supposedly in the sky, what, position of the planets. Bottom line is we are all gods that really had the capability before the 26,000-year cycle to tap into the ethers and connect. But because of the cycle that we're in, it's easier and more available ready for us. So I don't want the family to lose sight of, regardless, it is still, everything starts within you. Everything that is happening on a cosmic level reflects what you are capable of doing for you. But it is up to you. It's not going to be forced on you.
That's right. And what is the great adhesive to all of that?
What do you mean?
Adhesive that makes it stick together, makes it all work. It's just one word. And you know it. And we all know it. It's called love.
Love. True.
You have to love yourself. You have to love your family. That's the great adhesive that makes everything work. Because you can have all those other factors operating, and if you don't have that love factor, which is what is why the beasts always fight one another. That's why they're always involved in war, because they don't have a heart chakra and they don't know how to love. So everything that they create is destroyed because they destroy themselves. All we have to do is sit back and watch it, and that's what happens with those orbs that are here. They just sit back and watch this beast destroy itself, and that's the prognostication, right? The beast will destroy itself.
Indeed.
So we start loving one another. People pass one another on the street. I get more love from the Caucasian up here where I live because I live in a wealthy section of Atlanta, and the Caucasians are having a struggle here, and they will walk me past you on the street, and they will smile and speak and say hi. And the brothers and sisters who are having to work these menial jobs and they never have any money, bitter attitude, they won't speak to save their lives.
Right.
The same thing. Right. I experienced the same thing when I was in Europe and in Scandinavia. People in Denmark, they take their hat off to you when you pass them on the street. The men do. These are these 6 feet tall white males, these Vikings. because they know that we are their gods. We are the Thors. We are the Valkyries. They know these things. They know that the original Vikings are black people.
Right.
And they literally take their hat off in the streets and say, "How God, good day," and smile to you and speak to you and will understand and have conversation with you.
Right.
You don't get that in white America.
Right.
In the white communities, the black communities, for the most part. So that love factor should never be forgotten.
Agreed. So I'm going to get back on topic, family. Thank you for being patient with me. Let me go down that road. So I'm going to go into a clip, and this particular clip talks about how the sun is feminine, not masculine. And I got this off a YouTube channel, Amiri Sut L. So it's a short one. It's only about 7 minutes long. So we're going to play this, and then we're going to come back and discuss the identity of the sun. So here we go.
Hi guys, Blessed Be. This is my third attempt at filming this video. I just can't seem to get my words out. It's like 1:32 in the morning, and I'm really struggling with trying to get my thoughts to come out through my mouth. I think Mercury is going direct at the moment, and I was born with Mercury retrograde in my chart, so it's just whenever I just can't get my words out properly. But I'm going to make this video short actually, because I think the more I ramble, the worse it gets. So basically, I just wanted to quickly discuss the topic of masculine and feminine and the sun and the moon. I was watching Katie Flowers' video. It was a book review on a book called Drawing Down the Sun. And I will link it in the info bar below, so you can go and check out that video if you are interested. I'm actually going to purchase the book and read it myself, but I haven't obviously read it yet. But it's about drawing down the sun, and it's also about the sacred feminine, and looking at the sacred feminine from the point of view of kind of the sun, or like a more masculine, like looking at the masculine qualities. I'm doing it again. I'm making absolutely no sense. Anyway, what I wanted to kind of discuss is that there are times when I see the typical masculine qualities as feminine and the feminine qualities as masculine, and I was wondering if anyone else kind of felt this way, or maybe this is going to provoke thought in other people, I don't know. But I've always associated, if you say to someone, oh, they're really bubbly, they're very outgoing and always smiling and very happy, you would automatically think, oh, that's quite, those are masculine qualities, they're extroverted qualities. And then if you say someone is kind of very mysterious and a little bit moody and hard to read, and they're very serious, I said serious, but they're very kind of like strong in that silent way, you think, oh, well, those are feminine qualities. Now, maybe it's just me, but I think the absolute opposite. I think, because this is from my own experience as well. So there are certain people that make me feel feminine, or what I would describe as feminine, and there are other people that make me feel what I would describe as masculine. When I'm feeling feminine, I'm feeling bubbly, happy, smiley, cheerful, extroverted, all of these words that you would associate with being masculine. That's when I feel at my most feminine and girly. And I think it's more of a feminine personality. We're talking personalities here. Personality of someone, or when someone is in kind of a cheerful, happy, smiley mood. To me, that's a very feminine mood to be in. And when someone is kind of, you would describe someone as very mysterious and kind of silent, doesn't say very much, but is strong in a very silent type of way. To me, that describes like a man. Maybe it's my personal opinion. That's how I expect men to be, and that's how I expect women to be. But when sometimes, like if I'm with my girlfriends and if they're a lot more feminine than me or whatever, it makes me, there's something about me, I like to balance the vibrations and the energies in the room. If someone is very, very feminine around me, I will kind of step up and be kind of protective and very manly and masculine. But then I go very quiet. I go silent. I become very moody and very mysterious. The qualities that would typically be associated with being feminine, those are the qualities that I take on when I'm being masculine. And then, you know, if I'm with someone who is a very manly man, very strong, and kind of just gives off a really kind of masculine vibe, it makes me want to be very, like, cheerful and smiley and cute and kind of extroverted, all the qualities that would be associated with being masculine. But that's when I'm feeling at my most feminine. So, does anyone else understand what I'm trying to say here, or am I the only one? Yeah, I've struggled with this for quite some time, especially being an astrologer. You know, you get a list of these qualities, and these are masculine qualities given to the positive signs, and these are the negative qualities given to the, you know, the earth and the water signs. And I don't know, like, to me, the qualities are kind of reversed. And I've mentioned in my last video, Hades, the Greek god of the underworld, is my patron. And I said that he is very earthy to me. He's also very, very watery as well. What I didn't mention is that my ascendant sign is Scorpio, and the ruling planet for Scorpio is the planet Pluto. And Pluto in Greek mythology is the equivalent of Hades, and Pluto is my chart ruler, my whole chart ruler, which is another reason why Hades is my patron. But, you know, that's a watery sign, but I see Hades as the most, like, one of the most masculine gods in the whole Greek pantheon, in most pantheons actually, even though I associate him with the elements of earth and water. I see him as very, very masculine. I see him also as the type of character, I guess you could say, that would be, you know, kind of very quiet, very mysterious, very moody, strong in that very silent way. But again, that to me just reaffirms his masculinity. And when someone is very talkative and very chatty, I just see that as being a very feminine quality. Yeah. Anyone have any opinions on that, or anything to add to that? Leave it in the comments below, because I'm going to check out now, because like I said, I've tried to film this video so many times, and I'm just all over the place. So I thought, yeah, let me just keep it short and sweet. So leave any comments for me in the comment section below if you agree with me, or if you disagree, or if you have anything to add to that. And I will see you in my next video. Blessed be.
Okay, family. So that particular video, the sun is feminine, not masculine, was off of a YouTube channel, Amir Ray L. And the reason that I selected this video, although, you know, she does need to do a better job with constructing it, because she was kind of rambling it a little bit, but I selected it because of the way that she said she started looking at the typical characteristics of the sun and of the moon, and how in the different mythologies they had the characteristics, and she even thought of the sun as being feminine. And as I described at the top of the show, that I myself had my own personal experience quite a few years ago about the sun's true gender, when I thought of it in terms of the reproductive system. So meaning I literally felt that the sun was the egg, or the sun represented the ovaries. Now, I never thought of the concept of the moon being the fertilizer. So that is new to me tonight. Okay, so with that said, I'll pause in case the family wants to put something on it. And if not, we're going to move into the concept of the black sun.
Well, I think that she got it kind of confused because Hollywood always portrayed people like Humphrey Bogart and Clark Gable as a strong, silent type being male. So I think she was too late at night doing that because the feminine part was always the giggly. Of course, you got the Mae West kind of people too, where she was, sultry and stuff like that, but not strong and masculine, I don't believe. But anyway, I was listening to that.
I think she said that's what she thought. That she thought men are strong and was and I may have heard her wrong. I thought that she was saying that. Well, anyhow, it doesn't matter. Go ahead on, sis. Never mind, because I don't think she gets the best light with that. But go ahead on.
No, yeah, but men have always been the hard person to discipline in a family, and the women have always been portrayed as the pushovers, because the mother in the family is the one that they run to. Mom, Dad said I can't, or stuff like that, because the dads would always be the disciplinarian. So I don't agree with her her concept that the men are soft or anything like that. They've always been supposedly on top, and the women have been the underdog. So that's my take on it.
Yeah, and it's interesting because as I was doing the research for this, I had different people say different things. They had their different take on it because some said that the reason that they were able to switch the identities of the sun being masculine was because of the sun's power and because of the sun, the rays beating down on you. So that was one concept. And then the moon is like light per se, and it's the woman's cycle matches up with the moon. Okay, but then I had other people say, and this other brother, he broke it down quite well. His clip was only about 4 minutes long, and he said that he always associated the sun with being feminine because he described the characteristics and the quality of the sun as being a creator, a giver of light. So meaning if we do not have that sun beaming upon this planet, then everything dies. Okay.
Right.
So
that's the mother.
I'm sorry, go ahead. Exactly.
She's the one that creates. She's the one that gives the pleasure and makes you luxuriate in the pleasure of having your mother's nurture. She's the one, not the male.
Exactly. So, she was kind of rambling there, but I brought her in because she even had some sort of epiphany per se that she felt that the identity of genders with the sun was somewhat off balance. So I think she kind of, now that's babbling. If you want to talk about babbling, she was babbling. But I only brought her in because I could relate to what she was saying with having the epiphany that the way that we were taught per se, it's just not correct. You feel it. You feel the energy. You feel it within that, wait a minute, this doesn't seem logical that the sun would be the dominant one if the sun is truly the giver of life.
Right.
So, so that's what I thought that was interesting about that she had an epiphany as well. And you're going to hear throughout the night, we have a couple more clips. some other folks bring that into play as well. So before we go into start talking about the black sun, did anybody else want to put something on it?
Yeah. I mean, taking into perspective that Christ beings live on and in the sun, and it's a portal.
Yes.
It's a womb, and like every other planet is attributed to the feminine, like Mother Earth. I mean, once again, that's proof within itself that it's feminine. Nothing live in and on man. We don't have babies. We don't give birth. We ain't got no womb.
Although they trying the shit now, but
they can give them one, but ain't that's not no portal to no other dimension.
True that. It's not that. It's certainly not that. So, great point, Brother Sean. So, hopefully, so far the picture, hopefully that the family is getting, and press *1 to get in the queue if you want to put something on it. Hopefully the picture that you're getting, as we discussed tonight, the sun is feminine, the gender of the sun, that you are seeing that what was traditionally taught, they flipped it. So as we talked about at the top of the show, you had those ancient societies and the shamas and shamans and the high priestesses all knew of the concept of sun goddesses. And they knew that our particular sun was a female or a feminine divine entity. Okay? So as the ages changed, and the power of the religion started getting pushed on the people across the planet, the gods, quote, quote, changed from feminine to male. And in essence, that, of course, changed us into the patriarchal society that we live in today. Okay. All right, so we're going to go into the black sun. And so, interestingly enough, when I started out with my Wikipedia, and I encouraged the family to, this is one you want to look up. Go Wikipedia, the black sun. And so just literally put in black sun. Immediately, once you click on it, it's going to come up literally saying black sun, and in parentheses, it's going to say occult symbol, okay? And then you're going to see on the right-hand side what Brother Morse was talking about, the Nazis using that SS symbol that they pulled it off of the black sun. You're going to clearly see where that Nazism sign, where they pull from this symbol. Now, anytime, we've talked about this several times, but I just want to bring it up again. Anytime you hear them say occult, now mainstream media will have you think that it's something, devil worship, etc. Let's think about the science behind what the word occult means. It really is like hidden, okay? This is the hidden science of the planet, of the universe. Okay, so anytime you see them put occult there, think of the opposite of what they've been traditionally teaching. It's really representative of the occult, of the high sciences that have been hidden from us. Specifically what our ancestors knew, and those of us that have returned what we knew in the past. Okay. All right. So the black sun, the term black sun, German Sony, also referred to as the Sonnenrad, is German for sun wheel. It is a symbol of esoteric and occult significance. Now, to be honest, y'all, I was even shocked that they even was that damn honest with it. Okay, but anyway, its design is based on a sun wheel mosaic incorporated into the floor of the Welsberg Castle during the Nazi era. Today, it may also be used in occult currents of Germanic neo-paganism and in, I don't know, Arma Shaft inspired esotericism, but not necessarily in a racial or neo-Nazi content. Now, I'm going to stop there because I don't want to brush over this, because we need to start entering understanding what they're showing us. Basically, what they are telling you is that in the Nazi era, they took the high sciences that they have renamed occult or esoteric and used them for their benefit. Okay? So they put it in the content of here. They says that today it may also be used in occult currents of Germanic neo-paganism, and it's inspired esotericism, but not necessarily in a racial or neo-Nazi content. Now, I'm going to say this. In order for the power of white supremacy to be in existence today, they had to be taught, and when I say they, I'm saying the Zionists, they had to be taught portions of these high sciences. I don't believe they were given them all, and I will go even far as to say they would not be able to handle all of the high sciences, okay, just because of their genetic DNA makeup. But back to my point. They were taught these high sciences by someone that knew them for the purpose of standing up the system of white supremacy, for the purpose of keeping the ancient gods, which are you yourself, asleep in the matrix. Okay? So we have to be true and honest with ourselves. Make no mistake about it. The power of white supremacy that we know it, the power of religion, all of these systems were set up, and there is a force behind them being set up. So meaning the people that you see, the Zionists, the system of white supremacy, they were taught certain knowledge to keep the machine going. Okay? So now that happened in the spiritual realm perspective, meaning the demigods, as well as the demigods had to have melanated people that they use for their purpose to teach another group of people, non-melanated people, to put these systems in place. Okay? Any one of those secret society organizations, all of them use portions of what they're calling, quote, quote, occult, esoteric, I'm going to call them our high sciences. I'm going to state that again. All of the secret society organizations use a form of the high sciences. the higher up you go into those secret society organizations, the more level of the high science information that you get. Okay. So did want to just put that out there so we can start thinking of these things when we see these particular words. Not only do we enter and understand what the words mean, but we need to put them into content. Also, who is using the high sciences, why they are using them as well. Okay. All right. Okay. So, I'm sorry. Go ahead on, sis. Go ahead.
I like to say one thing. When I clicked on the black sun and I saw that symbol is used, and what popped in my head is Aztecs. The Aztecs is just symbol, the calendars and stuff. And when they came over here, I remember this kind of like a cartoon. They were in darkness over in the caves over in Spain somewhere, and they didn't have sun and all that kind of stuff. And they came over here to this country, and they took down the Aztecs. And in their taking down the Aztecs, they did learn some of the Mayan secrets and the Olmec secrets. And I understand, too, that they did get some of us who gave them the secrets because they knew that we were going to go down, because I think you mentioned that before. But they also came over here, and according to Horace Butler, when the rocks cry out, they went in, got the secrets themselves, the books and everything, and they destroyed all of our history. So we would not know where we come from. And then we take Abraham Lincoln, when he was going to colonize us after this Emancipation Proclamation was drawn, they killed him. He would have to tell them that they took us from South America and not from Africa. So they didn't want him to recolonize us back to South America, because that's where most of us came from anyway. And if you look at our DNA panels, you'll see a lot of us came from South America and not over there in Africa like they said. So they have copied our ancestral arts, the Hopi art, the Aztec art, the Apache art, and all this kind of stuff, and the Mayans and the Chomayans and all that kind of stuff. Because we have that DNA. That's how I can speak to it, because they went and took us. You know that old song, "From the Halls of Montezuma." That's Montezuma in South America.
Right.
And then Libya, is what is it? Tripoli. Tripoli is Libya. So that is their motto, to destroy us as people. That's what they came to do. From every continent they walked on, they walked to destroy our people. The Black Planet people, like Morris Davidson just said. Morris just said, they planted us. We were planted here first, and they made it a point to come and destroy every last one of us. And they sing about it. That's what the 4th of July is all about.
Exactly. And it's so, again, there is a purpose for them wanting to destroy the indigenous black / melanated on this planet, because, we are the true gods, and also the caregivers for the planet. And the entities, whether or not you want to call them the fallen ones, whether or not you want to call them the Anunnaki, whether or not you want to call them albinos, whatever label you want to put them on, they are the low-dimensional beings behind putting the other entities up to going across the planet, destroying blackness.
Right.
Okay.
We're the black hole, the black energy. They want to get rid of it. We're the melanated people. Melanated people are fluid. They're changing. They can adjust to this new energy that's coming in when they can.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And we talked about that already.
Yeah, we talk about it all the time. We talk about it all the time.
The black suns, the black SON maybe? I don't know. Or not the black SUN?
Very good point. Very good point. So, if you look at this Wikipedia, as Sis talked about, you see the symbol for the black sun, and I'm glad you brought up the Aztecs because now I see exactly what you're talking about. But they also, underneath it, they have a picture, of where this same black sun symbol is on the SS General Hall's, the first floor of the North Tower of that particular Wellsburg Castle. And it's saying that it was located on the floor in the center of the hall since 1991. Occasionally, the marble inlay has been called the Black Sun. Since then, the mosaic has been linked to the esoteric concepts about a black sun, which have been discussed by neo-Nazi circles since the post-war years. So there we go back to the Nazis, World War II, tying in, quote, quote, esoteric knowledge. So they got it from somewhere. Somebody gave it to them. Okay, and it's saying that the architects who redesigned the castle during the Nazi era called the axis of the North Tower the center of the world. Okay, so you all can definitely go check that out in Wikipedia. They did a pretty decent job going over that particular symbol. They go into some of the historical background of it, and also discuss of that same symbol being in other different lodges. Okay, so they did a pretty good job on that. So I will highly recommend checking it out, and you will get the concept of a lot of these organizations. They use these sacred science symbols, they're calling it occult or esoteric, for their benefit, to draw certain energies to get things done. So my point to you as high dimensional beings, that's your sciences. You created it. Okay? So you are able to use it at its ultimate level. And guess what? You are and will create even other more symbols, because that is the age that we are in. Okay, so I won't rant on that anymore. All right, before I move on, did anybody else have anything we want to put on it? I do have a video called Lucifer, the Black Sun, Matrix Exit Hole, War on the Feminine and the Halls of Amenti. That's the damn title, y'all.
Wow.
I know. So,
but considering it's the U.S. corporation that made Hitler out to be a bad guy, and he did run the nasty little Jews up out of his spot. I mean, he even admitted he knew who God's chosen people was. I mean, he knew a lot. He knew a lot about our history. He done a lot of digging. And he definitely taps into that energy. Just like our media and government lied. Hitler wasn't the one that snubbed Jesse Owens. It was our president. Hitler actually gave him a gift.
Now that's interesting, because I've heard several other folks post information about Hitler. I've heard various different fashions of who Hitler really was. you have the typical story of what's out there, him coming across the planet to destroy for world domination and the Jews being exterminated. I know Morris recently talked about that really the Hitler was backed by the Zionists and that they put him into power to destroy the rest of the black royals. And then I've also heard that Hitler wanted to kick the Zionists out of Germany, and he really knew who the true chosen folks are, which were the melanated people. Okay. Then I also heard that the wildest claim that I heard was from a brother who say that Hitler, not a brother, he's a brother in the sense that the work that he's doing, I respect a lot of it. I may not agree with all of it, and that's okay, because I am mature enough to enter and understand just because I don't agree with somebody doesn't mean I throw all of their ideas out the water. I can respectfully agree to disagree, pick up what I feel necessary, and keep it moving. But anyhow, his particular work, he was saying that the Hitler itself was a character. So meaning they had like all types of body doubles for him, but he really didn't have a seat of power per se, that it was the same black government, and I find that word hilarious, but the same underground black government that created this character and then put people in play to represent a Hitler to carry out their different dirt to come across the planet to dominate, to cause turmoil. So I've heard various different things about quote, quote, Hitler. Now, it's also been coming out in the past couple of years, I would say in the past 3 or 4 years, that they lied about the story about Hitler dying, because he did not die in that bunker. He actually went to South America. Him and his crew, some of his crew, went to South America. I want to say Argentina, if I'm not. Yeah, Argentina. Okay. And that's where he wind up dying. And of course, a lot of the scientists from that particular Nazi came over to the Americas, and they set up a lot of the eugenic programs and all of the other effed up stuff that we have today. They got embedded into the sciences. They got embedded into the educational system, and even furthermore indoctrinated the public on this idea of white supremacy. So those are all of the aspects that I personally heard on him.
Oh, don't forget that they're the ones behind NASA.
Yes, let's not never a straight answer with they lying asses. Yeah, absolutely. They're the ones behind that as well. Absolutely. Pretty much any of those agencies that you see today, even they got heavily embedded into the university system. So, so those are some of the stories that I heard on Hitler. Okay, so we're going to go into this particular video. I'm going to start with, it's called Lucifer, the Black Sun, Matrix Exit Hole, War on the Feminine, and the Halls of Amenti. Now, this one is kind of a long one, but he is dropping a lot of stuff out here. Let me make sure I'm saying that. I almost grabbed the wrong damn video, y'all. I'm sorry for that. Okay. It's going to be, let's see, LM. Yes, okay, this one is going to be 17 minutes. So those of you that are online with us, we have about 18 minutes before we go into overtime. So if you want to continue on with us, make sure you dial 929-477-3858, and I will put that in the chat room as well. So here we go, family.
All right, this is APEP. Today I'm going to talk about the sun and the pineal gland. Okay, so you see the sun. Like I said, people say that Venus is the morning star. The morning star is not Venus. The morning star is actually the sun. So I'm letting you know that right now. So you see the sun is associated with the crown chakra. You see that? That's the Uraeus, is the crown. You translate Lucifer into Hebrew, it's Heliel. You translate Heliel into Meduneter, it becomes Uraeus. Uraeus is the crown. That's the pineal, you know what I'm saying? Also, you see the torch? The torch represents enlightenment. The torch represents the sun. It does not represent Venus. You see the goddess Venus holding the torch of enlightenment because she sits upon the seven-headed dragon, or the great red dragon. That's dealing with the root chakra. Then you got Venus, and she's wearing green, and that represents the heart chakra. Then you got the golden torch, and that's the crown. And there's different aspects of the crown chakra, you know what I'm saying? The sun is associated with the crown chakra, sometimes Saturn. Each planet can correlate to any chakra. It's up to you to decide what chakra you want it to be up there. What planet to be up there. So, you see it again. Gold, the sun. You see the sun? The sun is associated with yellow, gold, orange, and red. You can tell by the symbolism. The sun also represents your strongest ego. Remember, your ego and your ambition are two different things. Your ambition is what corrupts your ego. You know what I'm saying? Your ego is you seeking free will. That's what the ego really is. So, the sun is dealing with your creativity, you know what I'm saying? That's dealing with the pineal. You stare at the sun, you actually open up that pineal gland. You're actually being more creative. Also kills the parasites in your body. For instance, when you stare at the sun, it also helps your gallbladder. Your glandular system. It helps your heart. You know what I'm saying? It helps your spinal cord. It does a lot of things. The sun is also associated with royalty, gambling, healing, music. You listen to music right now. And it's ruled by males. It has male energy, masculine energy. The gold is actually the most masculine color, believe it or not. And you got the black sun, that represents the subconscious mind lining up with the conscious mind lining up with the subconscious mind. You know what I'm saying? And it's also representing the soul. And you see that right there? That's the sun and that's the moon. The crown chakra aspect, as above, so below. Conscious mind, subconscious mind. And the flying saucer right there also represents the crown chakra. The flying saucer represents enlightenment, higher intelligence. That's why it shoots light and pulls you up. You're going towards your higher self. That's also symbolic. And the sun is also dealing with material success. You know what I'm saying? Gold is dealing with material success. Powerful color. The dragon is also could be associated with the sun too. The dragon correlates to all the chakras. That's why you see the 7-pointed star representing the dragon. The dragon has the root chakra aspect, the crown chakra aspect. It has all the chakra aspects. And you got the Buddha right there. It's gold. That's the sun. You see the Nagas? Gold, the sun. Probably had 7 of them. You see the pyramid? The pyramid also represents the sun. So, That's the black sun. And there's the hand. You see the hand? It's the eye of the Chittahuri. That's symbolic as the sun. Now, we're going to get more into this now. You see the Uraeus. When you raise up the Kundalini energy, like I said, from the spinal cord, that's activating the crown chakra. You can also raise up Kundalini energy by staring at the sun and going into meditation. Now, people want to say Lucifer is is Venus. It's not Venus. It's actually the sun. Remember, morning star. The sun rises in the morning and it sets in the evening. Morning and evening star. That's the sun. That's gold. You see the sun on every types of logos. You see it on the Walmart logo. You see it on countless ones. So that's Ogun. Ogun is associated with the sun. Now, Prometheus is the torchbearer. The torch is the crown chakra, and he brings it down to humanity, and Zeus gets mad. That fire represents the crown chakra, and it's gold or yellow, which is the sun. And there's Jesus right there. You see Jesus? We know that the devil and Jesus don't exist. These are all different principles, the different aspects of yourself. You see the heart, okay? The heart represents the crossroads. And for you to reach the crown, you have to be pure heart. Just like the weighing of the feather. You know what I'm saying? When you go into the underworld, or duat, and you go into heaven. Heaven's the sun. Hell could be associated with the sun too. Helios. You know what I'm saying? For instance, some people used to believe that hell was the sun, because it was the fire that keeps burning, which is very interesting. Now I'm going to get back on this Lucifer topic, okay? So, the sun rises in the morning, okay? Ra, or Horus. Horus is the horizon, the sun, okay? He battled against Set. Set wins at night. The sun sets. It's right there. The darker and the light aspects of the sun. The sun is also associated with the seven deadly sin, which is pride, and it is associated with the crown chakra. Like I said, I keep saying this over again. Hopefully y'all get it. Now, it's really easy how to access the sun energy. I was about to say how you access it. All you need to do is just stare at the damn sun. If you're scared to stare at the sun, just close your eyes and just let it hit you in your face, and you should be absorbing all that energy. Actually, you will be absorbing energy. You see that? It's the fiddle gold, and he said, fiddle gold against your soul. I'm better than you. You know what I'm saying? The gold is the sun. The sun is associated with, the soul is another name for the sun. If you go into the clip off of the Kabbalah, you know what I'm saying? And like I said, what I said, the sun was associated with pride. Too. So if you look at the other logo where they had, it'll pop up again. See, that's the soul symbol right there. Okay. And you see the UFO, if you look at it from the bottom, you see it has the round part and it has the sun in the middle. You see that? Right there. Like I said, that's sun energy. And I get kind of full off of the sun a little bit, but it'll be like a gassy full, like when I stare at it. Now, I'm going to show you, damn, I'm trying to, well, it'll pop up again, but the sun in numerology is associated with the number 1, oneness. And Jesus said he was the morning star. That represents See, he said he was Lucifer. That's the sun. It's one and the same. There's no good and there's no evil. You know what I'm saying? I don't believe in a god or a devil. You know what I'm saying? I worship myself, basically. And this is what this occult knowledge is about. It's about learning things about yourself, worshiping yourself. And that's the black sun right there. So the black sun is actually the true sun. It's actually, you know, the black spots on the sun? Deeper in that sun is a black sun. And the black sun is also the black holes outer space. Those are black suns. That's what creates our reality, which is the matrices, which is those checkerboards right there, the black and the gold. They use red and blue. I use black and gold. I'm going to higher levels of consciousness. You know what I'm saying? So, for instance, the sun could be associated with the solar plexus as well. Like I said, all this is interchangeable. The ego, willpower, there's Quetzalcoatl and the Lord of Death. They're one and the same. Just like Set and Horus. Now, you see the vulture on top of the crown chakra too. Or, yeah, the vulture would be the top of the crown chakra too. The vulture also represents the pineal because you got Saturn. And Saturn is associated with the color black. So when you sit in a dark room, you actually activate the pineal too. So light or dark doesn't matter. Like I said, you got to use both sides. You got to use both light and dark, because if you just know how to use dark energy and you don't know how to use light energy, you could be you'll be basically a victim. And if you use just light energy and you don't use dark energy, you'll be just as a victim too. They're both different aspects of ourselves. And you see the rays on Jesus' head, he had 13. You know what I'm saying? The 13th sun. The 13th zodiac. There's actually 13 zodiacs. And you see that the heart was cut out on the Aztec one. That's the Aztec sunstone. I can stare at that, like in his eyes, and I'll activate my crown chakra. I feel like I'm staring at the sun. You see that? That's the logo I was talking about. So, for instance, you saw the four sides. It had red. That's dealing with the sun, too. The sunset. You saw the yellow. That was dealing with the sun. The ego aspect of the sun. Willpower, your self-esteem, your pride. Then you had blue, okay? Now, blue is the pineal. Didn't I tell you the sun's associated with the pineal? And there you had was green. Okay, if you study science, the sun gives off ultraviolet rays, but it mostly gives off the green ray spectrum. When you stare at it, you will see green and violet. So, there you have it. Oh, and the torch, you see the staff? Oh, I didn't show a picture of the staff. That staff right there represents the spinal cord, and that's your head. The torch, the crown. And you see the demons, right, with the horns? That represents the crown chakra. The horns represents the crown chakra, and it represents the dragon. And you saw her throwing up the west side sign, the girl that had it on her head. That represents the sun too, or what you call the Trinity, the Mother, the Father, and the Son. And that represents the pineal too. You can go look at it. Those two X's are actually the eyes, and just put it on the side. You see what I'm talking about. But that can go back to the crossroads too. So the sun can be associated with the heart. So there you have it. I just gave you some information on the sun. And there you have it. Oh, and when the red crown chakra, the red sun, represents the sunset. So it's the conscious mind shutting down and going into the subconscious mind. I also did this in meditation. It actually works. So you can visualize a red crown chakra, and you should start to see visions. You should. You know what I'm saying? It worked for me. It's all about what works for you. Oh, and if you put your water out in the sun, it will actually evaporate all the. It'll kill all the parasites in the sun. In the water. And it should turn the water back into a neutral. So there you have it. That's the sun, the torch of enlightenment, and there you have it. I probably have more to say. Oh, I forgot to tell you, those four logos also goes back to the cube of Saturn, and the cube of Saturn goes back to the black sun. The Saturn goes back to the black sun. Man, I love this music right here. See, she got the horns. That's gold. I mean, that's the crown chakra. So you could just look at the symbolism through the slideshow, and you see what I'm talking about. You should see all the logos right there. Blue and gold, pineal gland colors. Gold is actually, I would say, my second favorite color. It's really third. I like clear the best, but I'll talk about clear another time. You know, people are like, why the hell you like clear? But I'll tell you, that is the ultimate shapeshifter. Yeah, I'm gonna let you know on that one. So there you have it. You see it? The sun also is associated with the sperm cell too, when you impregnate a woman. So I'll see y'all later. Oh, one more thing. Apollo is a sun god too. Oh, that's the Aboriginal sun goddess. I need to work with her. Apollo is associated with the sun. Okay? They say he rose from the bottomless pit, or known as Abaddon the Destroyer. When you rise up your higher nature you raise up your lower nature to your higher nature to the crown chakra, you destroy ignorance. You become enlightenment, and you become the Buddha. The destroyer, he's talking about the destroyer of ignorance. He's not talking about you going around busting bottles and shit. You know what I'm saying? So that's what Abaddon represents, and Apollo represents the sun. The conscious mind thinking process. Alright, I'll see y'all later.
All right, family. So that video again is called Lucifer, the Black Sun, Matrix, Exit Hole, War on the Feminine, and the Halls of Amenti. And that YouTube channel name is Flat Earth Paradise. Both Jesus and Lucy are feminine. Okay, so and I posted that on the Truth Uncompromised post, because I know that's a mouthful to try to remember to type all that in to get the video. Okay, so I'll pause in case anyone wanted to put something on it before I give my 1 cent.
Yeah. The speaker, he calls himself APEP. He actually has his own channel called a Cult Lecture or something like that. He's off into, the darker side of things. He considers himself to be a chaos being, all off into occult knowledge. As APEP was actually Horus's first enemy. The throne was handed to Set from APEP. He was the great serpent. But as far as for getting into the meat of what he said, he kind of jumped around a lot like he usually do. But he was on point as far as black suns being black holes. We got off into that earlier. So, I mean, to me, it's just all different perspectives. I mean, we all may have the same purpose, but our paths aren't the same.
True.
we all don't arrive at the same point.
Right. Eventually.
Exactly.
Right.
I find him interesting. I checked out a few of his videos. He's interesting. You actually have to see the video to see the visuals.
Yeah, you do.
That
you
he's
do.
trying to present.
I totally agree. So I would encourage the family to check it out so you can see the visual and it'll even make even more sense to you. I agree. Okay, so okay.
I wanted to
go ahead on this.
You know, we said this before. I think that's the only sin that Adam and Eve committed was to eat knowledge. Mm-hmm. Knowledge is the crown chakra opening up to the consciousness. And that was the sin of their existence on this planet. They were supposed to remain dumb and stupid. But then as he was talking, I was thinking of the Statue of Liberty. The Statue of Liberty was supposed to be a slave and was a gift from France. And they had to change it and all that kind of stuff. But when he kept saying the flame, and that Statue of Liberty kept, coming into my mind. And then she has the crown on her head, which is, knowledge or the sun. And that represents what we should have been and continue to be instead of being dumbed down by religion. We need to open up our crown chakras and get the knowledge that's necessary to set ourselves free. And therefore we get what they call liberty. Mm-hmm. That statue is really a symbolic tool for us awakening our own crown chakras up and getting our consciousness back. And I think that just kept coming to my mind as he was talking about the torch and the crown.
Very, very good point, sis. And you made a powerful point when you brought up the story of Adam and Eve, because me personally, I don't take the Bible literally. I take it as interwoven in it is a lot of the high sciences. Okay, so let's just look at that story of Adam and Eve with the snake, which is tempting them. Right, so the snake represented tempting them to bite off the quote apple, and most folks say that it was really a fig, but whatever, because apples didn't exist back then, but whatever. Okay, but the snake represented the Kundalini energy.
Right, that's right. And they got a hold to it. They were supposed to get a hold to it, but they just, that was the only sin. And I always used to wonder, how come the Creator God, but we're dealing here with Yahweh on this story, and he was not the Creator God. He was the interloper who gave himself credit for the creation.
Exactly.
He came in there, so you can't have this knowledge.
That's not right. Be dumbed down, because that puts you on equal level with me. As a matter of fact, you are able to surpass me in this knowledge. Absolutely.
Because he cannot move past what? The fifth
that heart chakra. That's right. That fourth dimension. That's right.
So he established himself as Lord with the capital L-O-R-D, small O-R-D, and people have worshipped him in that Bible like he's the Creator God, and he was not.
Right.
And the only sin, listen, if we just think about it, the only sin they committed was knowledge.
Right. It never made, to be honest, it never made sense to me as a child. I promise you, it never made sense to me. I'm like, What do you mean? Because they ate of the tree of knowledge, they're condemned. So, and you know, being a young girl, I thought, well, what the hell am I going to school for?
Knowledge is supposed to be power. It's not supposed to be, you know,
exactly.
So we have to rise above that teaching that they give us in those churches that keep us dumbed down. And that's what it's for, to dumb us down.
Exactly. Great point, sis. Well, I know what I really liked in the particular video. I think the brother did an excellent job. And once you're able to go back and look at the visual, you'll really see it because he kind of showed how different folk on this planet, once again, like we talked about before we went into the video, they're using the symbols or the high sciences of the sun and the black sun or the sun that we see with our human eyes for their powerful purposes. They know the power that it has within it. So he showed that in the different symbols, and he also went back and showed how in ancient times what it actually meant. So as Brother Sean stated, I liked how he brought into the concept of Lucifer. So anybody that has studied Bobby Hemmett's work, which I definitely give honor and respect to him because I've learned so much from Brother Bobby, because he talks about that dark chaos. Okay, and listening to this brother also talk about the concept of Lucifer and it not being what we were typically taught also put me into the light of what Brother Bobby Hemmett was saying as well. So I love that he brought that out in the video. Okay. So I encourage the family to also start doing some research on dark chaos, and I may even put together a show in the next couple of weeks so we could start getting familiar with the concept of the darkness and of chaos, because you being an interdimensional God being yourself, these are things that we need to learn from the high science perspective. Okay, so I love that he touched on that aspect. I also love, and which was one of the reasons when Brother Sean sent me the video and I listened to it, I'm like, damn, this is really on point, where he associated those particular symbols, some of the quote, quote, planets, or I like to call them some of the planes, some of the energy centers, with what is already within you. And we talked about that several times on how our chakra centers themselves line up with what we see in our immediate solar system, as above, so below. Okay, and we talked about earlier with us seeing, some of us anyway, seeing different planets visible in the sky. Those are new energies that you, as that interdimensional God being, have as well. They are currently being unlocked. That also is tied to this concept that you hear folks talk about, the 12 strands DNA, or your DNA being unlocked or coming online. So I also loved in this video how, once again, he is reminding the family that as what we see in the cosmos, that is really what's reflected in you. At the end of the day, that is what is reflected in you. And you are the controller of what energy centers you want to balance out you want to tap into. I'm going to say, and I'm going to say again, there is no Messiah coming to save you. There is no Galactic. You are an interdimensional God being that has everything within you to transcend and save yourself. Okay? You have access to these higher realms, to these energy sources. So the other thing that I also, damn it, I lost my train of thought. I hate when I do that. Oh, well, I'll pause in case somebody else has something to put on it. I have one more thing I wanted to say, and I didn't, damn it, lost it.
As far as with chaos energy, I'm still trying to get at Brother Panic so we can get him on here.
Yeah, Brother Panic don't play. Yeah, he's I would say Bobby's protege. Yes, I really hope we can get him on to talk about that, because a lot of the concepts of the Lucifer, the darkness, even going into Baphomet as well. You know, that in itself is associated with energy and duality, okay? So when you see that Baphomet symbol today with the quote, elite or the dark ones or the Zionists using it, they're using it for their purpose, but it is an occult science symbolism energy center behind it. So again, the concept of there is no good and evil, it is true. It is truly true. That's the high science that's behind it. It's how you use the energy. That's what it's truly about. Now, that's truly getting into the high sciences. All folk did was take the high science knowledge and used it to their effing advantage, and we weren't tapped into any of that knowledge. We worship some shit outside of ourselves, i.e. religion, that had no source of power for us, that did not align with our chakras. So that's what happened. And so now we are in the age where, again, this information is readily available, and you can simply just start studying, start going within, and your 12-strand DNA will become activated, and this stuff will start to make sense to you, and it's going to start making sense to you much, much more rapidly. Okay, so now I got back my point. The last point I loved that he did in the video is that he talked about the benefits of the sun. Okay, and we have talked about that plenty of times on this program. I know me particularly, I am a huge advocate of sun gazing. He specifically talked about sun gazing. You know, now what he was saying, if you're scared to look directly in the sun, at a minimum, close your eyes and look at the sun to get the energy source from the sun. We talked about that earlier, how those rays have information. It has information associated with it. Okay, and just last week before, or the week before last, I talked about, or it may have been Tuesday, forgive me, it starts to blend. I talked about how if you want to know a trick on your chakras, take a quick glance at the sun if you're not accustomed to being a sun gazer, look away, close your eyes, you're going to see some spectrum of color. Now, he said that, well, I see green. What did he say? He always sees, I think, purple and gold. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The reason he always sees purple and gold, because that is where his energy source chakra is. Okay? When you glance at the sun, take a quick glance, look away, close your eyes. I guarantee you, you are going to see one of the colors on the chakras. That is going to let you know at the level that you are vibrating. And now that's courtesy of Dr. Phil Valentine. I did learn that from him. I guarantee you. Okay, so that's another way for you to give yourself confirmation as you're working within on your spiritual journey, and you want to know where you are from a chakra perspective. You can definitely get that from the sun. I know because I do it on a regular basis. And wherever I'm at from an energy perspective, whatever's going on in my life, meaning whatever chakra center I'm dealing with, I can look at that sun, close my eyes, and that color will all the time be associated with that. Okay? So that's another trick. The sun is our nurturing energy source. And like Brother Sean talked about earlier, you have the really powerful source is the black sun, which sits behind our sun that powers it. Okay, now some say that is a black hole. Okay, which is really the energy source to this entire matrix that we see today. So I'll pause in case somebody else wants to put something on it.
Yeah. But getting back to how they flip things around, the whole battle with Apep and Ra, which was symbolically the battle of night and day, and Apep being the first great serpent to be demonized. Apep was the god of chaos and rebirth. He was considered to be the first immortal god.
That makes sense.
And in retrospect, considering the way that they flipped things, and we know the serpent to represent Kundalini energy, and we know that they swapped the sun and moon as far as the masculine and feminine. It's telling you right there.
Yep.
It was Apep who passed it down to Set who passed it down to Lucifer, who we now know as the serpent or whatever have you. And it was through the woman. The woman was the one demonized.
Right.
She caused the fall.
Right. Supposedly and allegedly. Right.
Exactly.
Right. And that was just another ploy to knock the woman off of her throne and take the divinity from her. So absolutely. Absolutely. It makes sense. Okay, so the next video I wanted to get into, and this one is only 11 minutes long, but since we are on the concept of Lucifer and the Black Sun, this next video is Lucifer, the Black Sun. It's 11 minutes long. I don't see it in my source to give you, so I'll research that, and I'll come back and let you all know the exact YouTube channel source so you can use it as a reference. So this one is 11 minutes long. It's called Lucifer the Black Sun. Here we go.
Hey, thanks for joining me. I hope you're doing well. On our flat plane, there are two suns, the black sun and the white sun. The black sun exists on the opposing end of our flat Earth. It emits green astral energy, which shoots out visibly as the aurora borealis. Both are two sides of the same sun. While it may seem contradictory, they are two expressions of the same entity. The white sun is feeding our bodies, bones, and blood, all physical matter. The black sun materializes all of our intent, hence why we close our eyes when we make a wish on our birthdays, and this is why we say Amen during prayer. The god Amun, where we get the phrase Amen from, is the black sun, often translated as the hidden one. He is one half of Amun-Ra, the Egyptian personification of this two-sided sun. Energetically, the white sun is the collective consciousness of our higher selves, and the black sun is the subconscious. Like our subconscious, the black sun is out of our immediate perception. The collective conscious and subconscious meet when the sun's light shines into the center hole. The black sun transforms both energies into the astral light, which then carries the collective conscious and subconscious of the whole, imprinting every thought and action on this plane into the Akashic records. To put in simple terms, the black sun eats the light from the white sun, takes that light and transforms it into astral light energy. This is a loop. Because the sun is the collective consciousness of all the higher selves, we've been told it's a fiery ball that emits harmful rays, and science tells us that it will one day destroy the earth. This is to hide the ancient practice of sun gazing. We can receive messages from our higher selves through sun gazing, of course starting out when it's low in the sky. And if we were taught to look at the sun from a young age, these messages would be reflecting back in the physical, and this matrix of fear and control would cease to operate. Although many of us have never heard of it, the black sun is one of the oldest symbols on Earth. The black sun was a prominent emblem of the Nazi mythos, and was all throughout ancient Norse, German, and Celtic culture. I've already talked about how the story of the Holy Grail is an allegory for the paradise located beyond the center of our plane, the exit out of this side of flat Earth. Many claims have been made about the Holy Grail, and among them is that the Grail was fashioned from the Emerald of Lucifer. The Emerald of Lucifer is the stone that became dislodged from Lucifer's crown and descended to Earth. As the story goes, Lucifer was cast out of heaven when he rebelled against God, and the emerald came down with. The mainstream interpretation of this story is that Lucifer, a once righteous being, became rebellious against God, and therefore was sent to rule over Earth. This is one reason why Christians will say Earth is ruled by Lucifer and Satan. There's been an effort to demonize this Lucifer figure, but I'm telling you that Lucifer is the black sun. The emerald stone that fell from heaven is the astral light pouring out from Lucifer, the black sun. Many secret societies worship the figure of Lucifer, but they're worshiping the Lucifer they've inverted and not the original black sun Lucifer. Lucifer, the black sun, is feminine. It's the source of the goddess, 1/3 of the flat earth trinity of sun, black sun, and astral light. They've tried to tell us that Lucifer is masculine and evil, but this goddess, again, is feminine and full of divine love. I mean, just look at her expressions. In the Bible, both Lucifer and Jesus are referred to as the morning star. Jesus is an allegory for the movement of our sun across the zodiac each year, hence why he is crucified during the winter solstice when the sun is hung on the cross of Crux. So Lucifer is the black sun and Jesus is the white sun, two sides of the same entity, and this is why they're given the same name. Like I said, both suns are on loop. This could be called the Jesus-Lucifer loop. So the Earth Spirit is a beautiful feminine goddess. There have been countless names attributed to her, one of which is ISIS. The terrorist group ISIS, created by our intelligence agencies, represents the ongoing war on the divine feminine. Feminism's idea of the patriarchy is physical. Physical groups of men who for centuries have suppressed physical groups of women. But the true patriarchy, if we are to call it that, is a war on the divine feminine principles. Many cultures throughout history have degraded women, and this is representative of this war. Again, it is not merely women who have been suppressed, but the divine feminine principles. They're not exactly synonymous. This suppression of the divine feminine applies to both males and females. The deviations of the masculine-feminine balance in each gender towards excessive masculinity is apparent in the egotistical, selfish, insensitive behavior and the lack of compassion that has been displayed here for a long time. Most aspects of society's influence on people reflect the masculine imbalance, from the emphasis on left brain principles to entertainment heroes with images of materialistic success, one-upmanship, and concepts of being cool. These are all characteristics of unbalanced polarity and the absence of the feminine energies that would otherwise instill a unity consciousness. Now is the time to reactivate and merge with the feminine. Feminism, however, is not the answer, but it's what the elite have given to us as to have the search for the divine feminine become inverted. Feminism still reflects the masculine energy in its attack of the problem. Women are being enticed to become more masculine with the illusion that this is what balance is all about. But we are not talking about a physical rearranging of roles, but about the personality, the psychology that feminine principles possess. The female has been degraded for so long that it's a natural subconscious reaction to move to the other side, but this is a trap. Intuition, inspiration, and care relate to the right brain, containing the feminine principles, whereas the left brain handles logic, analysis, and fragmentation, the masculine principles. As divine sparks, we must reactivate our right brain, therefore merging the long-lost divine feminine with the masculine. Education has been designed to suppress the right brain and overdevelop the left. It attempts to rearrange reality based on these masculine left brain traits. This war on the feminine is all a war on the goddess of this plane, Mother Earth. Squares are masculine and circles are feminine. Instead of squaring the circle, as the Freemasonic symbol suggests taking the feminine and hiding it within masculinity, we must circle the square and return to a balance with the divine feminine. In the Emerald Tablets, the deity Thoth writes about the halls of Amenti. It is a place inside the earth where only few dare to enter. It's the place Thoth was said to have gone, to rejuvenate every so often so he could achieve everlasting life. The halls of Amenti are generally recognized as a non-physical realm, similar to that of the Akashic records. But I'm telling you, the halls of Amenti will be found when we follow our compasses. The Emerald Tablets are sometimes associated with being formed from the Emerald of Lucifer. Therefore, we could see the Emerald Tablets as being the guidelines and instructions coming from the Black Sun. Lucifer, being the Black Sun, is urging us through these tablets, among many things, to get to the halls of Amenti, through the center vortex where our compasses are pointing to. When we read Tablet 2 of the Emerald Tablets, it's clear that Amenti is a paradise located within our earth, where those who dwell achieve eternal life. Not as the little men of the present age did, the mighty ones of Atlantis live and die, but rather from eon to eon did they renew their life in the halls of Amenti, where the river of life flows eternally onward. Now for a time I go from among them into the dark halls of Amenti, deep in the halls of the earth. Raised I high over the entrance, a doorway, a gateway, leading down to Amenti. Few there would be with courage to dare it, few pass the portal to dark Amenti. Deep in earth's heart lie the halls of Amenti, far neath the islands of sunken Atlantis. I want to mention that Atlantis was situated at the center of our plane, possibly perched on top of Mount Meru, the magnetic mountain at the center of our plane, which our compass needles are attracted to. The layout of Atlantis has been depicted as having 3 concentric rings, and so has Mount Meru. Deep in Earth's heart lie the halls of Amenti. It's been said that Shambhala is to the earth what the heart is to a human being. Shambhala is the Buddhist name for paradise, often synonymous with Mount Meru. Mount Meru in some artwork looks like a wormhole. This vortex is the earth's heart, in which lie the halls of Amenti. Shambhala is often depicted like a giant lotus having 8 petals. I've explored in previous videos how 8-rayed symbols often represent a gateway, like the 8-rayed symbol of the Nibiru, the cross of the Ilu, and the Dharma wheel. Now, it's said that those who enter Amenti must reconnect with their divine nature in order to pass through. This is just like the flaming sword which guards the Garden of Eden. To enter the halls of Amenti, the Garden of Eden, Shambhala, past the metaphorical flaming sword, we must raise our vibrations and gain the favor of the goddess of this plane. One way we are doing this is by writing down I intend to usher in heaven on earth, spilling a few drops of our blood on the paper and publishing it to the internet. We are publishing it because this signifies to the universe that it's your true intent, and it speeds up this blood magic by using the internet as a medium to connect our intent with the aether. The internet is not a physical force. It's directly in correspondence with the higher realms. Blood over intent is metaphysically connecting everyone who partakes in this practice, and it's using our sacred blood to seal in our divine intent into this reality. So the halls of Amenti is where we are headed to. Funny enough, the Egyptian underworld has been called Amenti. The underworld isn't the land of the dead, but it's the world underneath our feet, just like the name suggests. Amenti, or Duat, is ruled mainly by Osiris. Osiris has been at times considered the black one and has green skin. This is because the black sun, which rules the underworld, is emitting the green astral light. So just as Thoth is said to enter Amenti in order to achieve everlasting life and escape death, we can do the same by following our compasses and entering the center vortex. We are gathering for this journey under blood over intent. I urge anyone who hasn't yet to join this exodus that's happening within a few years' time by placing your blood beside ours. Thank you for watching. Stay well and centered. I love you all.
Okay, that one is called Lucifer the Black Sun. Sorry, family, I don't know where the video source went, and I tried to I tried to YouTube it, and I can't find it. So I'll find it and post it on the Truth Uncompromised Facebook page so you can go directly to it. Okay, so I'll yield in case somebody wanted to put something on it before I get my 1 cent. Okay, I'm going to go ahead. All right, so here's my take on that particular video. Once again, I kind of picked the video. I'm sorry. Okay.
Was that Clark who was, because I was listening to the Emerald Tablet, and Clark was the person who translated those Emerald Tablets and was speaking what Thorpe said. And it was interesting. We've already mentioned before that heaven is actually down and not up. And and that he brought out again is the halls of Amenti. And when Thorpe was astroplaning in one of his Emerald Tablets, he was going to the outer realms of existence, and the hounds of, I forget what he called them. I don't know if you call them the hounds of hell, would chase him back to his existence. And he had to weave to get back, because every time he went up, they would chase him back down, because he went too far past his dimensional level that he was supposed to go. He said he reincarnated into several personages to try to bring wisdom and knowledge to mankind. So it was interesting. He was talking about Thorpe and the halls of Amenti and Osiris, because Osiris is underground, they say guarding his domain, and we all have to go. But Morris said if we go upward, we're going to destruction instead of downward, where the darkness is our shield and our cloak and our power. So I was listening to him talk about that. I think it was Gerald Clark, I think his name is. Maybe it's your source that you were thinking of on Thorpe and the Emerald Tablet.
Yeah, that's Gerald Clark.
Okay, that translated it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and it's interesting that you bring up about going down beneath to get the true source power. And again, I take that back as meaning that same Kundalini energy, okay, because the energy comes from down, right? It starts from down And then as you're balancing up and you get that friction going, and those chakras turn into the funnels, and I said to me, like little miniature tornadoes, that's when the Kundalini starts to rising. So all of that to me, when they talked about the underworld, and that's why also the part that Brother Panic teaches now, the whole concept of the underworld and the dark side, that's why we can't not throw that out, okay, and think that it's something evil, because it's not evil. It's talking about tapping into the true power to rise up, to be your strongest. Because if you think about the Kundalini rising, the energy source starting at the base, and then it rises and gets stronger, and then you activate your Merkaba or Merkaba, your own flying saucer or your own spaceship, in the form of that 7-pointed star or the inverted triangle, as above, so below, and it starts to spin. Okay, so very, very good point on that, sis. I'll yield in case somebody else wanted to put something on it.
Yeah. I mean, if you think about it, we've been taught to fear darkness because you can't see what's in the darkness. When you learn to embrace darkness, you know that everything is in the darkness. Like how it was said that the black sun is the energy source of the white sun.
Yep, I love how it said that.
They say at the end of a black hole, it emits a white light. There's a white hole. So, I mean, basically they've been telling us all this in the sci-fi movies and everything all along, but we keep mistakenly placing it outside of self.
Right.
We think there's a vastness in the sky, when there's a much greater vastness within yourself.
That's right.
I mean, I don't get how people say that they're bored. And there's a whole universe within you that you know nothing about, but you're bored. How?
Right.
Wow.
Absolutely.
It pulls everything into perspective.
Absolutely.
You got to embrace that darkness.
Yeah, you do.
How you gonna measure light without darkness?
When from darkness is where you came.
Exactly.
Totally agree.
That's the only reason this false light shines brightly, because it's cast against the darkness. That is everything. I mean, it even tell you in that book that first there was darkness. And then
absolutely. Yep. Absolutely.
And as we know, Mother was first, and the darkness was the womb, the black hole. Also, the sun is within all of us, but we've been looking at it from a masculine standpoint of view, and we've all been off balance. Our brothers have yet to enter and understand that that's feminine energy. You have to balance yourself out with it. It's not energy for you to be dominant or to think you running something. A planet full of men will go extinct. A planet full of women will go on forever. And y'all can impregnate yourself. Ain't nothing we can do.
Wow.
I wouldn't want to be on no planet full of men.
Wow.
They keep that.
You know, it's interesting. Oh, I'm sorry, brother. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, go ahead. I yield the floor.
Okay. It's interesting because Tuesday when we were doing the 4th of July show, and we were, of course, got into the principle of how everything was reversed. And, Sis Joan came on the line and started talking about that book Initiation that she's going to start doing the classes or the series on Mama Ya when she comes back in August. But that particular book talks about how the feminine principle got knocked off of its throne. So Sis Joan came on to say that the women agreed to give power to the man. And the reason that agreement was made was so that her son could experience rulership. So I was just kind of really, really shocked that she said that. And, and that kind of makes sense as well. But, if that did happen, of course, things got so totally out of balance. And in the meantime, the total feminine principle was shut down. So I just thought that was really interesting that Sis Joan brought in the fact that the women agreed to give the men the power for the experience of rulership. So I just want to put that out there as well, because that was the first time that I had ever heard that concept.
I've heard that before.
Really? It blew me away. Okay, thanks, Brother Sean. So that last video, it's in my inbox, family. So I'll make sure that I post it on the Truth Uncompromised Facebook page. I couldn't remember if that was one that you sent me or if it was one that I already had. Okay. All right, so we only have about 15 minutes left. I do want to get into the concept of, because hopefully we have an inner and understanding now of the sun being associated with the feminine energy. Okay, and we talked about the sun that we see with our naked eyes, and also hopefully now you're getting an understanding of the black sun, which is behind our sun, that is essentially the power behind the sun that we see with the naked eye. And then we also talked about the benefits of the sun that we have at our disposal. Okay, the sun is the gateway of sending us messages. So all you have to do is bask in the sun, spend a little time in the sun. And the one brother that had the video about with the long title, what did you say his YouTube channel was, Brother Sean? The one that had Lucifer, the Black Sun, Matrix, Exit Hole.
I think it's a cult Black Your Knowledge. His name is APEP.
Okay, because I wind up subscribing to his channel. So, he even gave the concept of the benefits of the sun and spending time in the sun, doing the particular sun gazing if you can. And if you're not familiar with sun gazing, start doing a little research on it. Folks have done an excellent job even teaching you how to build up to being able to look directly in the sun. Okay, and I agree with him. Once you start sun gazing and doing it, it's going to blow your mind of the things that you're going to see and the level of information that you're going to start getting. And when he was saying when he basks in the sun, that he gets like a gassy feeling, and I could relate to what he was saying, because when I sun gaze, or just when I'm, doing walking and I'm getting a lot of sun, not only am I getting energy, but you do get this sense of fullness as well. So hopefully we're getting a better understanding of the true benefits of the sun to our body. And ideally enough, they say that the sun is the best source of vitamin D. Matter of fact, that claim that they have of getting it out of that cow's milk, which I don't think we're supposed to be drinking, but that's yet another story. The sun is the best source of vitamin D, but they running around here teaching the damn opposite of that, telling you that the sun will harm you and to lather on sunscreen. And that is simply not the case, and especially for melanated folk. Okay? It's the total opposite. And to tell you that they are so-and-so lie, there's a video floating around where they did the ultraviolet light on people that have sunscreen on, and guess what color they truly are with the sunscreen on? Charcoal black. So that's just telling you the lies that they are putting out there. Now, we do know that folks that don't have the melanin, the sun truly is a curse to them because it burns their skin. But you, with the gift of melanin, we should be taking advantage and every opportunity that we can to bask in the sun to get those vitamins. That is a way also to help you come into particular knowledge as well. I know because I can testify for that myself. Okay, so I'm going to pause before, if anybody has anything to put on it. Otherwise, I do want to go over something. But go ahead on, brother.
Okay, right quick. Like how you said that under the ultraviolet light that their skin looks charcoal black.
Mm-hmm.
That's because they're putting melatonin in that suntan lotion.
Exactly. But the sun is harmful, though. The shit is just crazy, the lies that are told.
Unless they talking about that artificial sun that they be throwing up there and
yeah, and we finna get up into that right now. Exactly. So we finna get up into that about the tricks that they ass is playing, because we only got 10 minutes. So this one is about literally, y'all, an artificial sun finally goes public in Germany. Ain't this about a bitch? This is from a YouTube channel called Rich from Boston. So let me find this doggone video. And Brother Sean, I forgot to tell you, this is a follow-up from the video that he had put out before, because he had put it out when he first saw they ass with the patent. So this is a follow-up. So this is 6 minutes. I'm going to play it so we can come back and chop it up, and then we're going to unfortunately have to close it out. So here we go.
Hey, what's up, YouTube? It's Richie from Boston. Today's the 27th of April, 2017, and you're looking at a video I put up well over a year ago. And everybody copied this video. Everybody re-uploaded this video. This video went pretty crazy for a long time, and still to this day. And what I was explaining was how NASA, way back in the 70s, along with Bausch and Lomb, had a patent to create a satellite-type sunlight, something that they could fake sunlight with, whether it was in a chamber, whether it was in a deep underground military base, or whether it was in our ionosphere. Well, I got a lot of shit for that. But guess what? Let there be light. Scientists' HOPE experiment, which can generate temperatures around 3,500 Celsius, will help to develop carbon-neutral fuel. Sunlight produces 10,000 times the intensity of natural sunlight on Earth. German scientists are switching on the world's largest artificial sun in the hope that the intense light sources can be used to generate climate-friendly fuel. You see that? How many times have people taken pictures of that behind a cloak of chemtrails and put them out and been called crazy? It seems like once they release this, it's already been done. And this is no exception. What was I just saying yesterday? You'll never be justified. Nobody will ever say you were right. No one will ever say, sorry. Do you see this? Does this look ridiculously familiar? Exactly. Who told you about this? Where'd you hear about this? Who was the asshole with the tinfoil and the laptop that told you about this a long time ago? And everyone was just like, you are so ignorant of science. It's ridiculous. No, I just saw it. It was easy. Common sense pretty much overrides a lot of things these days, and common sense is something nobody has anymore, it would appear. And common sense tells us this isn't an alternative to fuel, because turning this thing on, according to what they're telling us, you have to remember everything has to go through the decoder ring before you can actually read it. Turning this on to produce 4 hours of quote-unquote man-made sunlight consumes a year's worth of power it takes to light a 4-person family home for a year. So it's not really an alternative to anything, but you better start making alternatives now, because Solar Shield is clearly up and running full speed. And that's why they're bringing artificial sunlight out into the public imagination. Ease it in slowly. You see what I mean? It's just, I'm not even going to use that analogy I was just going to come up with. But the way I sound right now is the way everybody sounds. Everybody has a adult allergy, which is a ludicrous label in the first place. It's either you're born, you're allergic to certain small things. But in the year 2000 and beyond, people now are allergic to everything as they're adults, which makes no sense. Look that up. You don't develop allergies, you have allergies, but I digress. People aren't meant to breathe in sulfuric acid, barium, strontium, aluminium, and then whatever else they're spraying all over us right now. But just so you know, certain channels have been right all along, and it's starting to come out in the news. It sounds like I say this every single day now, doesn't it? Right? Well, that's because it's coming out every single day now. And it's funny because every single article that's a kind of I told you so always has a biblical reference. For instance, yesterday, I forget what it was, but it was something about playing God. And now today it's let there be light. You see what I'm saying? Exactly. Well, Richie, they're doing that inside a lab. Well, that's what they're telling us they're doing inside a lab, but I've got people every single day, including this morning, sending me pictures of things like this in the sky, behind the cloak of chemtrails, whether they're on high-altitude balloons, whether they're on all those dirigibles, the big bum, like they called it. You remember what I was talking about here? Did you ever wonder why all of a sudden, with all the technology they have now, they started making giant butt-shaped airships that can remain in flight for a really long time, like this? And then they have them that are stealth, that you can't see at all. So how many of these are up there floating around above the solar shield right now? You know what I'm saying? You don't know, I don't know, nobody knows. We can only guess. But I bet you one thing's for sure, that this could probably carry a variation of that. And we can't see because this is in the way. And that's all there is to it. Richie from Boston, like, share, subscribe, or don't. I'm out.
Okay, so again, that the name of that is Artificial Sun, finally goes public in Germany. So we only have 3 minutes. So next week I'm going to finish up a couple of more aspects that I wanted to speak on. The sun is feminine, and then we're also going to have the topic about the shift and the ascension. What does it really mean? So with that said, we're going to start doing last words. Sis, did you have any last words for the family?
No, I think I did enough talking. Window!
Oh, Wendell been chilling. Wendell, you have any last words for the family?
No, I just want to make the point. I make the point to keep it going. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I just like to hear the different opinions about things.
Exactly.
None of us have the real information. All we got is what we got.
And what we got, what our perspectives are. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Totally agree.
Yeah, but we don't. Like I said, things are being revealed, and we will be able to visualize.
Yes, we will.
Pretty soon.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. Brother Sean, you have any last words for the family?
Just piggybacking off of what y'all said, it's only perspectives that we're giving y'all. You got to go within to find your own truth. We're not walking y'all path, and y'all not walking ours.
That's right. Absolutely. Well, family, I do want to thank you again for joining us. Like I said, we will be back next Thursday. I'm going to conclude on the sun is feminine. I had a couple more concepts I wanted to bring into play, but the main topic will be the shift and the ascension. What does it really mean?